Ladies and gentlemen, we are finally here. And what a hell of a year we have all been through together. You know, the RBR Award started off 2 years ago as me just trying to provide some fresh content for my patrons at the beginning of the year. And then I started to raise the bar a bit last year, and now I think I finally started to really put together a formula, really start to put together a format. And in this one, you're definitely going to get your perfect balance of a certain level of respect for players who performed well and a certain level of roasting for players who did not. I covered several shows throughout 2023. Understand, certain shows don't count to me as 2023 shows. The Traitors Season 2, that began in 2024. So nothing incorporating that season will be brought into any of the nominees. Let me state that early. The shows that will be part of every nominee, or better yet, the shows that met the criteria in 2023 based upon the shows that I covered, or the shows that I may have done a rant on that I didn't cover all of it, are as follows. So we will have Survivor 44 and 45 representation. We will have House of Villains representation, Big Brother 25 representation, Big Brother Canada 11 representation, the Challenge World Championship representation, the Challenge USA 2 representation, and of course the Traitors US 1 representation. Now, you might not see much from Traitors US 1, but it was definitely part of my talent pool that I was extracting nominees from. And after I had all of these shows, I count about 9 of them, give or take. When I put these 9 shows of players, bad and good, against each other, I really came up with a compelling argument for why players deserve what they deserve. And if this is your first ever time at Recency Bias Radio for a reward show, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being patient with me throughout the month of January. Happy Black History Month to all of you for being here. You know the reason why I started this platform. It was heavily centered around the importance of propping up the prominent black talent in reality TV specifically. And that's why I am happy and I am honored and I am highly favored and blessed to be able to say that I have such a install base such as you all. You know, I call us an RBR family, and I truly mean that, because when all things fail, I know I can always depend on you all to have my back when others don't. And I believe because we have such a strong bond with one another, this is the reason why I stay motivated. This is the reason why I don't get burnt out. This is the reason why I never forget where I came from. And most importantly, this is the reason why I continuously push that envelope forward, break down barriers, and not become satiated or not become... what's a better word I should use? Not become complacent, right? Because what I know and what I have seen is when you become too complacent is when you begin to believe you've already done what you can do and there's nothing left to do. And when you reach that part of your career, that's when you run out of things to really chase. And the great thing about reality TV is, especially in this space, there's always some wild rabbit out there. And I would just love to chase another one with you all. So ladies and gentlemen, get yourself a cold beverage and kick your feet up. Welcome to the 2023 RBR Awards here exclusively on the Recency Bias Radio Patreon. We're going to get into it. With all further ado, let's talk about the best and the worst of the past 12 months. Why don't we? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I have returned, the James Bond of Ponderosa, riding round in the Testarossa. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your humble host, Dave Smith, but I'm known as many names such as Pretty Boy Smitty, Protocol Paul, Pearl Game, Ultra Smith Dog Trail, the Rant God, Hotep Thanos, Throne Thanos, Metro Kaiba, the Pro Black Prodigy, the Shadow Realm Shaman, the Pronoun Punisher, the No Sleep Assassin, he who cannot be canceled, the Apex Analyst, the man who is about to bring balance to 2023 because no one else can do it in these reality TV streets. All of the above on that ISAT test and ACT. You know what it is. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am recording this very late on a Sunday night. I was able to push things around in my schedule, and that's why I'm going to make sure that I get this rant out to you all for your work day on Monday, because I care so much about you all, and I want you all to have a fun day. Understand, Coach? But stay focused at whatever job you're doing, because I'm going to have some hot shit to say. And there's a lot of people who have tried to throw some strays my way. And see, like a true king, I don't just react to these people when they expect me to. See, real G's move in silence like lasagna. A wise quote from a great man in Lil Wayne. Understand, and he once upon a time called himself the king, the greatest rapper alive. And sometimes you have to believe when no one else is willing to believe. You have to speak these things into existence to truly achieve these things. And I've always believed I was the best, even before I even proved it. And I believe over time people started to see that my consistency truly is what separated me from the rest of these. And that's why I am so excited to break down these 16 different categories, 4 nominees for each one. If you do the quick maths, that means there's going to be 64 nominees in this one video. There is going to be some that I'm going to back up with some screenshots. There's going to be some I'm going to back up with some video evidence. There's going to be some I'm just going to freestyle because I don't want this to be necessarily 4 hours, and I don't want to rely on what I've written down. I want this to be more of an organic experience with all of you because I appreciate the fact for as long as I've had this channel, for as long that I've been on this pulpit speaking my truths, you all have been down. So let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into the first category of the 2023 Recency Bias Radio Reality Awards. Please hit that drum roll for me. Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we done turned it up a notch. The first category of 2023 is none other than The Biggest Betrayal. And the nominees are as follows, ladies and gentlemen. Nominee number 1, Josh the Meatball Buffoon Martinez betraying Johnny Bananas right before the finale of the Challenge USA Season 2. Listen, this was the first time in my life I've ever seen Josh step up to Bananas. This is my first time in my life I've seen him be anything other than a do-boy. For that reason, I gotta give him some credit here, because I'm gonna be honest, it was a shocker to me. Now, what makes this so funny, and if any of y'all watch these seasons with me, you all remember while I was covering it, I made quite of a mockery of Josh. The idea that the minute you decide to finally do what's in your best interest, not in production's best interest, not in Banana's best interest, not in Tory Deal's best interest, production finds a way to still screw you over with the Hopper. We all remember the Hopper, one of the worst things known to man, ladies and gentlemen. And throughout this rant, some of these nominees, I will provide the rant exclusivity. That way, if any of you would like to go back and see some of my talking points in that moment in time, you can. This is all meant to help you all. If you weren't a patron at this time, when I made this content, this is meant to be somewhat of a cheat sheet to help you get by, help you skim through, help you be able to go and witness these classic rants throughout the past year that maybe you weren't aware of. And listen, I get it. Sometimes we don't always have 5 bones to spend every month, but this is why I truly love the catalog that we are building here at RBR. But now let's get into the second nominee, ladies and gentlemen, because that was only the first one, right? So the first nominee, of course, is Josh betraying Bananas for the biggest betrayal. The second nominee is Jag turning on Blue Kim and backdooring her out of this game. I thought that was one of the more despicable moves he could have ever made, if I'm being fair. Now, if I'm wrong about him backdooring her, if he just nominated her initially and got her out that way, maybe I don't remember the actual detail of it. Quite frankly, I don't care. I still believe Jag was in poor taste to target Blue Kim before he target Applebee's. I don't like it, but it's once again another example of how Applebee's was Wayfair furniture. She talks a big game, but she did nothing. Just like her little boy toy who likes to cross-dress in Blue Kim's outfits. You feel it, dig me, coach? Oh, you thought the strays wasn't gonna come early? Oh, no. Listen, y'all waited good and long for this. Understand, it's gonna be worth the wait. Understand that. So that's nominee number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Nominee number 3 is Corinne voting out New York in House of Villains, which was truly a backstab of epic proportions. This is what, of course, made Bobby Lights turn on her for the rest of the game and vow vengeance. And he eventually did get her out, and he eventually tried to take that further shot at Bananas. But of course, we know how that ended up. And for the fourth and final nominee of the biggest betrayal of 2023, it has to be Felicia consistently throwing Cirie under the bus. And what I noticed so much about this Big Brother 25 season, what I noticed so much was how people tried to divide and conquer black women this season. And see, the RBR community, we saw through it. Hell, I warned you all because of Potato Chip, we would go down that road. People said I was a conspiracy theorist. People said, oh, you need to just get over it, Dave. People said I was on a witch hunt. But everything that I said exactly happened the way I said it. I even predicted Potato Chip would try to show up around Christmas time before anyone else said it. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, my sources are undefeated, but what makes me a good reporter, a good journalist, is that I don't compromise my sources by name dropping. That's how you keep staying in the loop, because you don't give people up. You showcase that level of trust, they're going to always come back to you because they know from a journalistic standpoint, I am robust. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know what you're thinking. Who's Dave going to choose here? Right? Who's Dave going to choose? In theory, all of these nominees are quite impressive, right? I mean, Josh betraying Bananas, in theory, he deserves to win it because he did something which is almost like Groundhog's Day. It happens like once a year if you get that lucky. You feel it, dig me? Jag Baines turning on Blue Kim. In theory, that's what helped him eventually win the game. I can create the argument maybe he doesn't get the votes next to Blue Kim. Maybe Blue has just enough in her locker to beat him. Hell, we knew he was scared to even go to the end with Bowie Jane. That says a lot to me. That tells me Blue Kim would have washed him just the same. Okay, and then you got the whole dynamic here of Corinne turning on New York when New York was the main person who had her back when Omarosa was quite hard on her at the beginning of HOV. And then you have the black on black crime known as Felicia Cannon trying to unleash the cannon, the Don Cannon, on Cirie Fields. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't be me if I didn't bring a PowerPoint to the classroom. You know what I'm saying? I really want to break down the real reasons why these two sisters didn't get along. I really want to give a certain amount of spotlight there because what people often do, especially non-black people, is that they speak in these absolutes when they don't understand us and they don't understand what ticks us off. They jump to conclusions. They justify microaggressions. They root for people who are outright anti-black. They tell us we can't be anti-Semite. They tell us we can't be anti-this. But then they tell us we don't have the right to tell them what anti-blackness is. It's a constant double standard. It's a constant level of disrespect. And see, what they want to do is they want to constantly shun us and shame us into believing we don't have the right to believe what we know for a fact is a fact is a fact. They want us to believe it's just an opinion, when the truth is they're just giving their opinions because half the time they're terrified of even being in a room with black people. Ask the average black person, though. We've always had to work around in a room with nothing but white folks. How many times have these white pundits had to be in a room with nothing but black folks, though? They never had to be put in that position. So until further notice, they don't have the same credibility when discussing another race of player. And that's just how I feel. And I know that's how you feel. And that's why we'll always be a voice for the voiceless, ladies and gentlemen. But we gotta really break this down because, see, Sari has every right to dislike Felicia. And no, I'm not trying to be someone who divides two sisters against each other. I'm merely trying to explain why Sari feels the way she does, and I'm trying to have a bit fun with it. And if you all remember, Sari and Felicia, they went back and forth. You know, Felicia, she made a move that now we can look back on as being a bad move. This move put their alliance down the path of self-destruction. That ruined Izzy Fields' game because it made it easier for Cameron to take a shot at Izzy, which ruined the games I can argue, of Sari and Jared to a degree. This forced them on the back foot. This forced Jared to keep winning comps, to keep these sisters safe. And because his production team in the casting department only gave us one straight black man, because of Potato Chip's legacy of constantly sullying the impact of straight black men, it set up all these sisters. And mind you, outside of Kirsten, all these sisters were going back home to a black man themselves. So the idea that the future sisters of tomorrow were screwed over by the selfishness and the narcissism of a sister from yesteryear, it once again proves I once again got another prediction right. Now, these are the things a lot of people want to act like I didn't get right. These are the things people act selectively dumb about. No one likes to give a brother his credit. They wait until we're either dead and gone or they wait until we retire. Then they act like, oh, he was actually a genius. But in the moment, a lot of people, they seem to be a bit scared to give a brother his true kudos. I don't know what that's about. I think it's really beta behavior. And I think that type of approach is exactly why the black community can't gain any momentum, because people want to pick and choose who their heroes are. They don't want to give the credit to the person saving lives. They want to determine, they want to create the narrative that you didn't save anyone's life. Until you're a woman, you didn't save a life. Until you're wearing a dress, you didn't save a life. Until you identify as something other than a man, you didn't save a life. What I'm trying to do is show you all that this double standard is divisive. It's more divisive than anything I've ever had to say. I'm just here pointing out the hypocrisies. And because I'm willing to do it, because I have the courage of my conviction to do it, I'm the one that consistently is portrayed in a negative light. But I can take it because I have the skill set to always shake and bake it. Understand that. So understand, it all started with Felicia being quite jealous of Sari. Throughout BB25, you didn't have to live under a rock. Anyone could tell that she had something about her. It was a pungent smell. It was just something that she just didn't like about Sari. Now, I don't know if it was the fact that both of them were older sisters and maybe she felt like Sari was stealing her shine from her. Maybe it was the fact that Felicia felt as if she won an HOH, Sari didn't win a comp, and somehow Sari is still the one people care about the most. I don't know. But at the end of the day, Felicia wouldn't have known any of that information while in the house, so that still doesn't check out. To me, I never really understood from Felicia's perspective what her problem was, right? And I know what people are going to say. Well, Sari was throwing Felicia under the bus too. That is true. But with great power comes great responsibility as well, right? Felicia wanted the clout from taking out Heisem. Felicia wanted that high profile. That high profile put her game in a rough position. Her way of trying to offset the bad position her game was in with no Heisem involved her trying to throw under the bus all her allies that were black, not named Mimi. No one wants to admit these things. They want to absolve her from these things. And while I'm aware that she had to go through a tragedy throughout the later portion of the game, we're mainly speaking on the beginning right now, towards the middle. And what you got to understand is a lot of things played a huge role in this Sari and, of course, Felicia beef.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let me ask her if she want it. Because if you don't, I'm eating it. Bowie Jane.
Okay, what you do? Just get away from me.
Now, I know what a lot of y'all are thinking. Damn, Cerie, I mean, that's another older sister. Why do you feel the way that you do about her? Well, see, we're not there with them 24/7. There's certain things we're not even privy to. And that's why I thought it was very important to share this video with you, because this is the type of video I don't think the majority of people have ever seen. While I was doing my research for this video, for this RBR award show, I saw this for the first time and said, wow, now it makes sense why post BB25, why I've heard that Cerie and Felicia don't like each other, while Cerie doesn't even want to be bothered around her. I've heard these things, and I didn't really have any tangible evidence, but then when I see a video like this, things seem to make more sense.
When we talk about boundaries, Felicia had zero boundaries when it came to me and my personal space, because I'm 53 years old, and I've been around the block a few times, but I have never met a person or people that would take the liberty of even examining their feet in my presence, more or less to cut your toenails or file them on my bedding, the only personal space that you can have in a game like this is your bed. Everything else is community property.
That's trifling.
And Felicia took the liberty of filing her toenail. I hate feet. I have a thing with feet. And to those who love feet, more power to you. I don't judge you. I have a thing with feet. And I've never, flabbergasted is not a strong enough word to explain how I felt seeing Felicia file her toenails on my blanket, on my bed. I should have known then you could not trust Felicia as far as anyone that would take the liberty of cutting or filing their toenails on your bedspread is someone that you should never trust with anything.
That's like someone going into your house and they don't even wipe their shoes on the mat first. They just walk through your floors with mud. It's just a lack of respect thing, right? You know, also keep in mind, Cerie was the one with an actual skill set beforehand. Felicia, she was an unknown commodity. So Felicia had an advantage that Cerie didn't have. Cerie was more so at a disadvantage. The one advantage you could say she had was playing with her son, but her son didn't have any real knowledge of playing these shows either, and he was operating under the pressure of being her son too. All those things considered, it's quite a shame that these sisters weren't able to really get on the same page for a long period of time, but I just blame the casting department more than anything, because I know for a fact if Kirsten's not on this cast, there's one more straight black man to protect these sisters. These sisters are fighting with each other a lot less because Izzy makes jury, Mimi makes jury, and guess what? We don't get the shitty late game that we got. But ladies and gentlemen, now let's get into who the winner of the biggest betrayal is for the first category of the season. I know we spent a lot of time on the Cerie-Felicia dynamic, but I wanted to provide some transparency and give a real recap to why there is some drama there for those that might not understand that and weren't patrons around that time. The winner of the first award of the RBR 2023 Reality Awards is none other than... Believe it or not, it's Josh Martinez for betraying Johnny Bananas. In my honest opinion, pound for pound, this betrayal, it made sense. It was sound. To me, it was a coming-of-age story. Shortly after this, all of a sudden, I'm hearing Josh Martinez want to be on code and pro-black on Rudolph games. So clearly, turning on Bananas, something clicked in his head. And after that, Bananas started rebranding himself on another show. So listen, I'm just saying, maybe a Pandora's box got opened the minute that happened. Maybe it made Bananas rethink the things he's been doing. Why am I associating myself with Josh Martinez? I need to start getting in good with black folks. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. I'm speculating. Right? And part of me is just joking. But in all seriousness, though, Congratulations to Josh Martinez. It's very rare that you get an award that's not completely rooted in embarrassment. So that was the first category and the first award handed out to none other than the buffoon himself, Josh Martinez. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the second category of the 2023 RBR Awards, known as the Rookie of the Year Award. And the nominees are as follows. We have Carolyn, I believe her last name is Weiger? Let me make sure. Yes, it's Carolyn Weiger, ladies and gentlemen, from Survivor 44. You all remember I was a huge fan of Carolyn. I believe she got robbed next to Yam Yam. No disrespect, Yam Yam. I feel like you don't make the end if Carolyn didn't have the power she had in her pocket. That's just how I feel. All right, it is what it is. Now, I get it. People can say, well, Dave, she didn't have many powers. Austin had all the powers, and she still beat him. Yeah, but that was because Austin was simping beyond belief, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Oh, yeah, he's gonna have a recurring role in this movie. But in all seriousness, though, I don't believe Carolyn was simping for Yam Yam at all. But I do believe they had a nice bond, and of course they worked alongside Carson, and they were able to basically play both sides throughout the merge and make their way to the end of the game. And of course they made Final 3 with Heidi, one of the more anti-black players in recent history. When you talk about Survivor, the only player that I might rank above her from an anti-black standpoint that isn't black is probably Emily from 45. But with that said, all the respect in the world to Carolyn. I think she's a very consistent player, very entertaining player, very refreshing player. And as blondes go, hey, we need more of those type of players, Cassie. Because we saw the first blonde in 45. Shorty said, oh, I need my vape. I'm quitting. So you just see how she can get when you get the wrong blonde in. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, so she's the first nominee, ladies and gentlemen. The second nominee for Rookie of the Year in 2023 is Jared Fields. Listen, man, the Black Mamba. You think I done forgot this man's nickname? You think just because he didn't win the game, he somehow is sullied in some way? No, I still believe he got shafted from a casting perspective. They didn't give this man anybody he could relate to on that cast. This is a guy who raps in everyday life. They didn't give him anyone who even listens to hip-hop in the damn cast. You feel it? They gave him white dudes that are comfortable saying the N-word, but they wouldn't give him a black dude. They gave him Jag, who do the yo-yo, baby, yo, ebonic shit, wouldn't give him a black man on the entire cast, all right? This guy was set up to fail, and people act like just because he got to play with his mama, all of a sudden it's guaranteed for him and his mom to win. You're insane. But with that said, I understand. People just love hating on the black man. It's so easy to do. But because it's so easy to do, I don't think you have any skill when you do it. It's almost like a player in 2K. Everyone can exploit this one dribble move to skill boost? Okay, I'll just skill boost. Does that make you good at the game, or does that just make you someone who's abusing an exploit? I find you to be someone who's abusing an exploit that needs the exploit just to perform well. See, that's the problem. People in this community, they don't see it as abusing an exploit because everyone is clout chasing off the exploit. Then when someone like me comes around who calls out the exploit for what it is, then they say I'm the one exploitating. When the truth is, until I arrived, everything was a black exploitation film. Oh, I'm cooking. I'm cooking. Oh, boy.
Folks,
I'm in playoff form. Y'all in trouble tonight. Y'all in trouble, buddy. Y'all in trouble. But anyway, now for the next nominee for Rookie of the Year. Bobby Lights. In my opinion, he impressed me. You all know throughout the past I've had my conservative views, if you will, towards certain players that tend to be more gimmicks than actual game players. I don't mind you being your true self if you're here to play and you play well, though. And Bobby Lights was a great example of that. And a lot of people, they were quite surprised by the fact that I supported him throughout House of Villains Season 1. But, I mean, let's be honest, he was the only black man on the cast, and I thought he was playing on code considerably, and that's what we didn't necessarily expect for him to do. And let's be real, he didn't have to do it. He could have easily have sold out and gone in a different direction if he wanted to. But with that said, I liked what Bobby provided for the season, and I definitely believe he opened up a new pipeline, possibly, for Love and Hip Hop to get more on these competitive shows. Now, I don't watch Love and Hip Hop, so maybe that is a competitive show. I've just found out recently that these housewife shows are quite competitive based off some of the gameplay acumen of certain players like Phaedra, Slarsa, etc. So I'm saying these things to basically say that more now than ever, I am very, very thankful for a show like House of Villains because we saw how a new show can completely crash and burn and can become quite redundant by the latter episodes in terms of Squid Game The Challenge. House of Villains didn't have that issue. House of Villains only had 10 people on the cast. Somehow they still entertained us from start to finish. Meanwhile, Squid Game got 432 people, and they can't even keep black people on our screens because they keep targeting them. I'm just saying. All right, so at the end of the day, listen, I enjoyed everything about Bobby Lights on House of Villains, and I'd like to see him more on the future seasons involving strategy, because Love and Hip Hop just ain't my stilo. But with that said, now let's get into the fourth nominee. Speaking of Squid Game The Challenge, it's that man. Mama, there goes that man. The villain of all villains. Hopefully he gets picked for House of Villains one day. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about Brighton Constantine, the guy who made a lot of people really get their britches in a bunch. I mean, a lot of people were so salty about a black man with some confidence. It was astonishing. People made it seem like this guy did some of the worst things in the world. I watched the season. Granted, I was behind a lot of people when I started watching, and I didn't see nothing as disrespectful, as bad as people were saying. In fact, I saw a brother constantly trying to keep brothers on the same page and be vilified for it. But then again, you could have all these white people around him doing the same exact thing. No one calls it being on code. No one calls it being an alliance. No one calls it huddling up. No one calls it threatening, because that has always been the status quo. And this has always been part of the double standard that white people consistently get to exploit when we talk about reality TV. So you see how things come home full circle for me. So understand, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about this Rookie of the Year award, I truly believe every single one of these nominees have every right to be here. From Carolyn, who we haven't seen in a while because Survivor 44 was quite a while ago. It was like half a year ago when we saw that. To Jared Fields, to Bobby Lights, to Brighton. I truly believe this was a true who's who, if you will, of rookies. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, now let's go ahead and get into who won this award for me. The winner of the second category of the 2023 Recency Bias Radio Reality TV Awards is none other than Brighton Constantine. Let's just keep it real in these streets, man. This guy had so much heat, and this is a wrestling term, ladies and gentlemen, alright? This guy had so much heat, he literally was selling Netflix subscriptions on his own. Come on, coach. Come on, coach. Let's keep it real here. The hate for this brother was so strong that he was making people sign up. When Netflix was raising their prices, of all things, he was making people sign up just to try to bash him some more. And then later on in the season, we see Felicia play completely stupid, and the same people hard on Brighton when they give her a pass for playing like a dipshit. Stuff like this just further proves my point. People want to cop pleas for the subpar player that ain't the black man. But then when it's the black man, they hold him to the standard of having to be Marvin Latimer, BB5 at all times. And even then, he didn't get the credit he deserved when that season aired. It took years and years for people that meant, oh, well, he did create the five-finger plan, even though Nokomis was picked for All-Stars over him. As if All-Stars had enough black men. Literally, it only had one gay black man in Marcellus, and they say, oh, that's enough. Noticing a pattern here as well. I'm just saying. Seems like people were terrified at a certain point of the Big Brother times, of having more than one black man on the cast, even if it was a gay and a straight black man. It was like they were just terrified of seeing us linking up, because they knew us two together could really cause some havoc. Because oftentimes, just two of us at a job can get a lot done. And that's what they didn't want us to do, succeed together. So, salute to you, Brighton. You deserve this award, and you deserve a lot more in the future. I found out you played linebacker at Clemson. Oh, yeah, you got a bright future as well. Hopefully, you get to play the challenge at some point. I think you would be a great addition to a show like that. You have the mindset. You definitely have the personality, you have the charisma, and you have the athletic ceiling to truly succeed. So I'm rooting for you, man. Keep it up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the third category of the 2023 Recency Bias Radio Reality TV Awards. This category is for the worst move, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's keep it real here. This is a highly debated category, right? Sure, I'm sure there's going to be people commenting underneath this. By the way, if you think there should have been something else nominated for a specific category, please comment below and give me your thoughts on it. If you can, please spread out your comments to each category if you can in the comment section below. I really want to hear your thoughts on this. I put a lot of thought into this. It took me a lot of time. So please also give me your time with your comment. I would appreciate it. So in terms of the worst move, the first nominee, ladies and gentlemen, is of course Felicia, the Red Vine Rebellion, when she backdoored Heisem, which I believe is what handed the mid-game to all the non-black players. Because if Heisem is around, you at least have that one player Cameron is forced to backdoor before he can afford to target Izzy. Sarie's game was very heavily centered around Heisem being the shield in front of her so she could wheel and deal behind him. Somewhere along the way, she wanted to stick it to Heisem. That 1 week when Heisem wanted Riley out, remember Sarie wanted to keep Riley over Cameron? I wanted them to keep Riley over Cameron. That ended up being another prediction that I was right about. Imagine how different the world would be if Riley stayed over Cameron. Imagine how different it would be. It'd be completely different. Cameron would have never won AFP. Cameron would have never been on Reindeer games. Riley, I mean, who knows how she would have screwed Matt up in the head. Matt probably never even wins the twist. Maybe Matt never even has to save Jag that week. Maybe Jag is taken out before that twist is even implemented. Who knows? And maybe we get a black winner because there's no Cameron playing like an idiot trying to target Mimi before Corey. I'm just saying. But one thing's for certain, this was a terrible move. Of course, hindsight is 2020, and I know I was the person at the time who did look at a lot of pros, but even in the description that you can see to my right, you all can see that I brought up pros and cons. So I always tried to be 50-50 and fair at this stage of the game. I try to be 50-50 and fair at all times. When things get anti-black, I'm choosing the side every time, and it's always going to be the right side of history. But that was the first nominee, ladies and gentlemen. The second nominee is Cameron targeting Mimi. This, of course, is what made me begin the boycott, the epic boycott of Big Brother 25. I believe it was a successful boycott because, it was therapeutic. Just stepping away from that game for a few weeks, having a whole bunch of people hit me up, Dave, come back, it's getting good, it's getting good. Only for me to come back and for the game to not really change much. I mean, Blue Kim gave us 1 week of respite. Outside of that, the game was still mid. Salute to Blue Kim. She did all she could. She didn't have no soldiers no more. Jared was already gone. And let's be real here, no one else could win a damn comp on that side besides her. And it was what it was. All right. And for the third nominee, we have Felicia being off code. Of course, it was the Crabs and Apparel rant, my last rant I've ever done of the Squid Game The Challenge. To be honest, I just don't really feel like covering that season anymore. It's too anti-black for me. There's no one left worth rooting for pretty much. And with all that said, I mean, once I saw that Asian lady create the argument that, he's an entertainer. Because he's an entertainer, he's automatically deceitful. And I'm thinking to myself, you wouldn't say that about a white man. You wouldn't. You wouldn't say that about an Asian man who's from the entertainment industry, but you're going to say it about this black man because you fear him, but you don't want to admit why you fear him. So now you're trying to use microaggressions to hide the real reason why you're targeting him. That's what told me all I needed to know, and that's why, of course, I didn't finish the rest of that show. And yeah, I already have been spoiled. I know she ends up winning. It always happens that way, right? The more anti-black you are, the more you get rewarded for it, right? It's tough, but that's life though, right? So now, ladies and gentlemen, the fourth nominee, of course, is Austin simping over D. I mean, let's just be honest here, Austin. I mean, I'm well documented in how you made $1 million mistake. Imagine feeling a lady on an island. Not literally, because I have a feeling D wasn't going to let you do that much, but you really are into this person. You believe they like you as much as you like them. Whole time this person is just running game on you. This person is from Miami. This person probably got a better mouthpiece than you, more life experience than you. You're probably still in college or fresh out of college, more of a nerdy type, late bloomer type guy. In over your head. Never really dated a woman on this level necessarily, with all due respect. We've all been there before as fellas, and probably this is going to start a villain arc of epic proportions when we talk about Austin with the ladies. But with that said, Austin, I don't think you'll make the same mistake twice, because most guys don't once they get their heart broken the way you got yours. But so now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into who is the winner of the worst move. Because there's an argument to be had here that Felicia could get it, right? But I still believe that if there was one more black man on this cast, that move could have been covered up relatively easily. The Cameron targeting Mimi move, very dumb, but if I'm being completely honest, he was probably pushed by production to do it, because we saw him wanting to backdoor Corey. Then all of a sudden he changes his mind at midnight, and for all things considered, it felt as if he tried to make some advances towards Blue Kim. She respected her relationship with Jared at the time. She didn't give him what he wanted out of her. So he just decided to start bashing her to Matt and Jag. That's at least how I saw it. And that's how a lot of people saw it. And people like that, you got to watch very carefully. Because, dog, one minute you like Riley when she's like a daughter to me. Next thing you know, you're into Asian women. Like, dog, do you have a type or are you just horny? I can't tell. But once again, it's kind of weird how he won AFP for being an outright horn dog, for lack of a better term. I know one thing. If a black man was a horn dog like this, he would not get that type of recognition. He just wouldn't. He wouldn't be appreciated. This is like if Caleb Reynolds, after stalking Amber Berzultra throughout BB16, this would be like if Caleb Reynolds won AFP after stalking Amber. That's what this would be. That should tell you that there's a certain course correction happening in the reality TV space, more specifically the subsection of Big Brother. There's a course correction happening where they're trying to make sure every white man now is okay, even if he does things unbecoming. And I believe this is done to justify why every black man isn't okay. Because you got to understand, people still are more mad at Jared than they ever were mad at Luke. Luke outright said the N-word. The N-word was less important and less disrespectful to the entire community than the R-word, when there are less people who actually can identify as the R-word than people who can identify as the N-word in the community. That should show you how little black people are valued. So imagine all these black people holding on to these relationships because they want to network with these people who secretly love the fact that they're being called N-words behind their back. Imagine me seeing this and having these people trying to talk to me. You need to get more like us. You need to be more like us and network more. Why? So I can be around a whole bunch of people calling me an N-word behind my back and laughing it up? From my perspective, you're the one taking the L. You're just taking it slowly and you don't know you're holding it. And that's the thing. A lot of people in this community are game goofy. You can tell they don't got many street smarts. They might have a little bit of book smarts, but you got to have a good balance of both. If you have a good balance of both, can't nobody swindle you out your money, out of your self-respect, or out of an overall respect of your community. And that's how I feel. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, there's only one possible nominee that can win this award for the worst move. And it's the one that's still locked on the screen. It's Austin simping over D. The dumbest move ever. And the reason why Austin is the one who deserves this win, and it's not even a good win because, I go in and out in terms of a bad award to a good award. the reason why you got to get this award, and it's only right that I do this award show. I didn't even realize the Grammys was tonight. Like, when I found that, I said, wow, I'm over here just trying to watch NXT Vengeance Day to support my homie Trick Williams. Mellow. But anyway. But still, though, at the end of the day, Coach, it has to be Austin who wins this award for sure. Because, Austin, you really cost your entire family generational wealth trying to chase some sugar walls. And it's quite embarrassing to me. I can create the argument, Corey, he also cost his family the same thing, but maybe because of Corey's background, maybe he's not that strapped for cash as you are. In theory, allegedly, you know? But one thing's for certain and two things are very simple. A lot of y'all dudes gotta stop simping so much for these Latinas who ain't even that code, bro. Y'all be out here losing it over these girls because they can speak some Spanish, bro. They speak a little bit of Spanglish and y'all don't know what to do with yourselves. It's like, bruh, Tyrese out here talking about, I wish I was from a Spanish family, because Spanish families stick together. Shut your goof ass up. I ain't trying to hear that. Yeah, I'm done watching Fast and the Furious 2 now, and that's one of my favorite movies, Tyrese. You ruined it. You're ruining it. You feel me, dig me, Coach? You know. But in all seriousness, though, I told y'all this is going to be a funny-ass rant. Understand, I got things on my mind that I can just throw at y'all in rapid-fire succession. This is why I wanted to do this more in a freestyle format. I want to give you all a quick recap of my thoughts. That way, when we move into 2024, you all are going to really know how I feel about all of these things. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and let's get to the fourth category of the RBR Awards. We're almost already 25% into the award show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not trying to be in a rush, but I'm also not trying to hold you too long. I want this to have some real good pacing. The fourth category of the 2023 RBR Awards is none other than the Most Clutch Player Award, or the most clutch performance, depending on how you view it. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to troll a bit here. Because Nicole Frenzel has made my list. Now, I know Rachel is somewhat laughing her ass off about this, because she know I don't like Nicole as much as the next person. But I can respect the fact that she completely G-checked Potato Chip. And let's keep it real. I didn't watch that show when y'all did, but when I heard Potato Chip lost on finale night to Nicole of all people, it did pique my interest. Because I've been trying to tell y'all, man, Monty did all the hard work for her to get the win she got. So when she finally has the opportunity to pull off this win and prove she can do it on her own, she flops, she fails. And she loses to Nicole Frenzel, the one winner it feels like is the whipping girl of reality TV. Like, people shit on this lady all the time, and I'm going to be real here. I don't normally defend Nicole, and this ain't just about her beating Potato Chip, but I got to keep it real. It feels like people are jealous. It feels like people are jealous that this girl that they look at as not being all that attractive pulled a man that they view as very attractive. If we're being honest here, Nicole did what Austin wished he could have did with D. She basically did the reverse with Victor. That's deep. It's interesting. This community is very feminist-centric, and yet when a woman pulls off a dub the way Nicole did, getting the guy and the victory, and then she comes back and wins again, she could have won 22 if she made Final 2. Let's keep it real there, too. This lady is certified. And what I'm not going to do is dim her light to make other people feel good. Because when I see someone who truly deserves some credit, I give it to them. That's what makes me consistent. That's what makes me reputable. But when I see somebody who was handed the wins that they got, and they're ungrateful with the wins that they get, to the point where they want to bash the person who made their wins possible in the first place, just so they can keep the same disloyal fan base. It's disgusting. Imagine if I've had a black girlfriend my entire career on YouTube who's held me down. Imagine if we get into it one day. And imagine I allow my subscriber base to determine whether or not me and my girl can reconcile. Y'all would look at me as a weak mother. Let's keep it real. Shouldn't no outside source, shouldn't no third party be able to dictate who you're happy with? But that's what Potato Chip allowed the world to do to her. And what I can respect about Nicole is, no matter how much people hated on her and her consummation with her husband Victor, they've been going strong, and they could care less what y'all think. And what makes Nicole even more impressive is that she keeps showing up, knowing y'all don't want to see her, and she keeps performing well. That shows character. That shows determination. And that shows me that she has a little bit extra in her where she can rise above adversity. Whereas the potato chips of this world, they can only perform when the wind is to their backs, pushing them forward. They can't go against the wind and really get anything done. And that's what Rudolph Game showed us. So, hey, man, celebrations are in order. Hey, congratulations to you, Nicole Franzel. You deserve to be a nominee because you clutched it. You even took out Xavier in that finale. Listen, I'm one of the biggest X supporters there is. You beat X in a comp. I don't care what excuses could be or could not be. You beat X in a comp. I'm hearing X had a head start in the damn comp. I don't even care about the details. You beat Xavier, the Excalibur himself. You beat him? No. I got to put respect on your name. I got to put respect on your name. So, hey, man, all the respect in the world to Nicole Franzel. She did what no one could do because production wouldn't allow it in BB24. She slayed the potato chip, and she made sure the potato chip crumbled. Now let's get into the next nominee. It's none other than Caleb Gebrewald, the man who is the first player in the history of Survivor to successfully play a shot in the dark. One of the more impressive feats I've ever seen. Now, granted, I still don't really understand the shot in the dark rules very much, but I feel like because we finally saw one successfully get played, we finally started to understand the rules more. Because up until that point, I swear it just felt like something that was just a waste of time because no one really was able to do it successfully. The minute you start to see people do it successfully, you get to see them build upon that. This is why I speak very highly of Peter in Traitors Season 2, because he's coming up with ideas no one has ever come up with, and now future players for future seasons can build upon those ideas. That's what makes you legendary, right? Because people are going to always bring up what Peter did. And they're going to be able to source from that to come up with new ideas. This is how you evolve the game. And anyone who's part of the evolution of a game is legendary by definition. And the fact that his evolution involves outsmarting a player like Dan Giesling, even more impressive. But to get back to Caleb, we know what Caleb did. We know how great of a player he was, and we know he was a victim of anti-blackness his damn self. He would have went home. Actually, I think he did go home the same episode as another black man. Yeah, that's right. Him and Sifu went home the same episode. Very, 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 very bad luck. It reminded me so much of what happened. I believe it was James and Get Rich or Die Trying Ryan when they also was taken out back to back on the same episode a couple of seasons back. That, of course, if I'm not mistaken, was the season Gabler won. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, all the respect in the world to Caleb. Listen, I know you can say, well, this came down to luck, but a lot of clutch moments come down to some luck. And I'm not going to, because a lot of luck played a role here, I'm not going to act like it's somehow less of a great move or less of a great moment, right? This was one of those moments we're always going to remember what we were doing when we witnessed it live. So I got to give Caleb his props. Next, I got to give props where it's due. Chris Underwood, the Challenge USA Season 2. Y'all saw me when I was covering this season. I didn't feel the way he was coming at my brother Monty. I didn't feel the way he was coming at Tyler because Tyler had Monty's back. I was kind of hating on Chris a little bit. I'm going to own that. See, I'm capable of it. Everybody else ain't. They ain't capable of coming clean like that. But over time, over the season, I started to become a fan of the guy because he started to be put in a position that black men too often were put in on other reality TV shows. It's him against the world. Everyone plotting against him. Remember that wrestling mission where everyone just jumped him so he couldn't win safety? And then all of a sudden, they try to keep throwing him in elimination after elimination after elimination. And he keeps prevailing. He took out Tyler, took out Sebastian. Then he gets to the final. Right before the final, he ended up winning safety. That's what prompted Josh to betray Bananas, because the whole time they were trying to make sure that Chris didn't get safety, so it never had to come to that. But because Chris got the safety, Chris was the one who actually wanted Bananas out more than he wanted. Actually, I think Chris was the one that actually wanted Josh out more than Bananas, though, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, I think he viewed Josh as the one that he wanted to take out because of Josh's gameplay. I think Josh pissed him off at one stage of the game. He said, I really want him out. I believe I can beat Bananas. I'm not sure if I can beat Josh, which is a great compliment you can give Josh in that moment. Fessy to this day claims Josh would have won that final if he got to play in it. It remains to be seen if that's true, because he hasn't played in one yet. I mean, it's all fine and dandy to say what you could do. I mean, shoulda, woulda, coulda. I mean, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. But with that said, Coach, Chris made y'all cry, Uncle, throughout that season. I'm going to keep it funky. And for the fourth nominee of the fourth category of most clutch player and clutch performance, it has to be Jag Baines. Listen, man, y'all saw me on the finale rant. I gave Jag the credit he was due, because he won out and he dominated. And I know what y'all are going to say. The competition wasn't that high. But that, once again, is a demerit on the games of the Apple Corys of this world, of the Camerons of this world, of the Bowie Janes of this world, right? It took a lot of idiots playing anti-black for Jag to just skate to the end just like that. Their fear of a black messiah, their fear of a three-peat, made all of them play stupid, make decisions that made no sense. And they'll laugh it up and smile it up and act like they were warranted for the decision, but deep down, Corey knows in his heart he had a better shot of winning a comp against Felicia and Sari than Jag and Matt, but he was too chicken shit and too scared to actually do something about it, and he couldn't win a comp over Jag to really get the ball moving down that path. So he just kept fucking around with Applebee's. You know, she's basically draining you of all your fluids, draining you of all your milk. She's milking you. So you don't even have the correct focus to really buckle down and get things done. You know, she kept you from not realizing your potential. And she probably is still keeping you from not realizing your true potential. That's the funny part, but I don't want to focus too much on them. We'll get to them a little bit later, but so, ladies and gentlemen, for the winner of the fourth category of the 2023 Recency Bias Radio Awards, it is none other than Chris Underwood. I got to give him some credit here, man. This guy was up against the 8-ball towards that late game, and he just blitzkrieged. He yoked them. It was one of the better finishes I've ever seen. You can't say he had easy competition like Jag had. You can't say he relied too much on luck like Caleb did. You can't even say, Rudolph games is kind of easy. It's only 2 weeks long. It wasn't. It was a lot longer than that for him, and a lot more wear and tear on his body the season he played. I think he's the no-brainer pick here. And I think he deserves it. So congratulations to you, Chris Underwood. You deserve an award because you played your ass off in 2023, and you definitely deserve this award. So thank you so much for performing the way you did. Now let's get into the fifth category of the 2023 RBR Awards. It's none other than the biggest flop. Now, there's a lot of ways you could look at this, and just hold on tight because I'm going to have a little spin to this towards the end with my final nominee. But my first nominee is none other than this fool.
Is this your game?
I rest my case. If one pitcher could tell you he was a flop, this one definitely does, don't it? I mean, I find it so disrespectful that you put on, at the time, your final two girlfriends' clothing. That told me, to be honest, that's just as disrespectful as Felicia cutting her toenails on Cerie's bed to me. You know, it's like you want Jared to smell you when he's with his lady. You're weird. you're weird. And the way he turned on him at a drop of a hat, it told me he was never going to be loyal to him. It told me he was always biding his time. And it told me he really just wanted to prove himself to his anti-black queen the entire time. But with that said, it's self-explanatory why he's a flop. He won no comp. He's a nerd who can't even be a nerd correctly on a season like Big Brother. I mean, this dude was picked to be the next Ian Terry, Steve Moses. He couldn't hold either one of their keyboards. Oh, that's a good joke right there. Because you know they ain't good at no sports. Oh, this dude talking about, I was a quarterback in high school. I was a quarterback. Man, in what grade school, dog? Because there's no way you was seeing over no damn O-line in high school. There's no way. I mean, damn, who you playing with? Huh? Codename Kid Next Door? Huh? You playing with Rugrats? If you don't get your Brock Purdy looking ass up out of here, boy, I'm finna roast your goof ass. But anyway. So now, the second nominee for the fifth category is, of course, Wes Bergman. Let's keep it real. Wes did well on All Stars 3. But when we talking about the Challenge USA 2, all this, my wife is pregnant. This is my last time I'm gonna play. Take sympathy on me. Don't target me, guys. Let me skate by. All of that was victim noises, dog. And quite frankly, it was unbecoming of the legend you are. And I love the fact that Corey and Bananas clowned you for it on that podcast. It's what you deserved, bruh. And if I'm being honest, you deserve this drop too.
Is this your game?
Because if I speak highly of a player and I see them acting like that, it make me want to go, ooh, I got to reevaluate some things. And it really felt like Wes was around some of these younger dudes in way better shape. And don't get it twisted, Wes is in great shape, but his body's older now. He's been through a lot of challenges now. He's run a lot of miles, a lot of tread on them tires now. He knew his challenge career was flashing before his eyes, man. And no one likes to see that boxer who's punch drunk way before his prime, way after his prime, real chinny, just getting knocked out. I hated seeing Roy Jones Jr. lose to guys like I forgot that one dude's name he lost to, Joe. I forgot that dude's name. The dude that he got like soft hands, like he don't hit you hard, but he hits you like over and over and over. He just kept hitting him like a Pez dispenser, like I was like, come on, Roy Jones. I really believe Roy Jones going up to heavyweight and then dropping back down is what ruined him, because when he fought Antonio Tarver, he didn't have it. But at the end of the day, we ain't got to discuss no boxing, but y'all know me. I love bringing the sports analogies to the mix. But yeah, so Wes Bergman, Challenge USA 2, I thought he performed very badly considering how good he performed in All Stars 3. I'm just keeping it real, you know. Then we got the third nominee, Tori Deal. I believe she sabotaged our brother Danny McRae 100%, to the point where Danny's wife wanted the smoke online. I'll never forget this. Oh, what a time to be alive, huh? But yeah, Tori Deal, she was definitely a flop. I can create the argument Tori has been flopping a lot lately. She's been kind of skating under the radar for her flops lately, though. Mainly because she gets to say, well, I'm still making the final. Yeah, but if you're completely insulated because production keeps picking your entire vacation alliance, so you can never really be targeted, outside of maybe that one physical thing you did with John A, where you had to get rough and tough with her because you know you can't beat her in a damn puzzle. I mean, outside of that, coach, I'm not that impressed. And when it really came down to it, you aligned with those black women because you knew you could not get physical with them like you could with John A. You knew it for a fact. Michaela would dog walk you. I got money on Chanel possibly giving you some go. And I know Desi would give you that work. So it's just one of those things where overrated to hell and back. But we got to get into the fourth nominee. I definitely was alluding to who I believe. I was definitely alluding to this being kind of like a curveball selection. But I think when I get done explaining myself, you all are going to agree with me. It's Wendell Holland. And I don't even need to use the drum roll this time, because he is the one winning this award. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and maximize this for those of you that may have never seen this. This, of course, stems back from the rant I did about the whole simping that Austin did, and about the rumor in which that Wendell allegedly may have had some affair with Dee. But when you read this up close and personal, it really feels like where there's smoke, there's definitely some arson. So, as you all can see, it says, although I think people's private lives should remain private, I'll clear the air with a few facts. My girlfriend and I broke up. I take responsibility for that. I'm sorry to her for all that has transpired. The person the internet keeps attaching me to deserves an apology from me as well. We got close at the end of November through December, and I was dishonest about my family life with her. So that's confirmation that he was in fact with D, by the way. He just admitted it. I created a situation that was unfair to both parties, and although I've apologized to both privately, I would like the community to know that I'm sorry as well. Thank you. Now listen, I can commend someone for coming clean and, meeting things right where they are, not trying to hide. We know a lot of people that try to disappear in this community when things don't go their way. So I could give them some kudos there. But at the same time, it's just a terrible look for a brother like Wendell. I remember he was speaking heavily on inclusivity, representation for black people. You get yourself a black woman pregnant, and then you basically embarrass her for the world to see because you're so reckless with your flirting that people can see you actively trying to hook up with a woman that you knew was likely the winner of the Survivor season that was being aired. It came off very weird, it really did, and it was just in poor taste, right? And listen, you can't control who you fall in love with in this world, but at the same time, you can control your approach to showing the world that you are now with that person. And listen, Drake once said, I wasn't hiding my son from the world, I was hiding the world from my son, or he said something like that. I'm sure Wendell, in his own mind, he has a similar thought process probably, because that's how you have to think to justify the mistake you made to a degree. But this is at least a step in the right direction. But the reason why you deserve the biggest flop award, Wendell, is because you had such a great approval rating up until this point. And I just can't make sense out of saying he deserves to be the bigger flop, he deserves to be the bigger flop, or she deserves to be the bigger flop over you. When, let's just be honest, they ain't did anything as detrimental that you did. For that reason, I know I kind of bent the rules a bit because technically he didn't play on a reality TV show this past year, but that's why I feel the way I do, and hopefully my explanation will suffice. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the sixth category of the season. Sixth category of the year, pardon me. It is the best move category, and the nominees are as follows. The first nominee is, of course, Julie, for making the move, which is what got Emily out. Everyone voted Julie out in final, I believe this was final 7. She used the idol, and she was able to cast the sole vote to determine who went home. She decided to choose Emily, and that's when the Shadow Realm awaited her presence. The second nominee is Brandon. I, of course, did a rant on premiere night for Survivor 44 entitled Broken by Brandon, because I remember how anti-black his original tribe was that season. If you watch those rants, you know what I was speaking on. If you all remember, Brandon found an idol. This was the season with the whole birdcage twist. And if I'm not mistaken, this is how Carolyn got her idol that she eventually used towards the end of the game. But there was this birdcage twist. And Brandon got the idol, but he was forced to essentially be found or be seen getting the idol. All these white people on his tribe, and all of them are trying to fool him into believing, hey, you can hold on to it. We're going to need it for future tribals. Whole time, all of them are trying to scheme against him to blindside him on night 1, trying to do him dirty. He saw through it, played the idol successfully. It saved his game. It took out a white girl who felt like Emily before Emily, and it got the ball moving towards a season that was at least somewhat digestible. But at that point in time. But of course, we know how there was that one tribe with Heidi and Danny and Franny and I forgot the other guy's name, Matt, and they were super anti-black towards Claire and the other black dude on their tribe. So at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, Brandon was always against the 8 ball, just like Jared was on BB25. And once again, isn't that a common thread line you all are noticing in all these awards that I'm giving out? All these nominees that are part of these categories of awards that I'm giving out. It's always a straight black man that's being shafted, but the narrative on the white media side is never the black man was shafted. So now let's get into the third nominee. Now, this, of course, is Caleb's shot in the dark play, which I believe was a play he had to do because he had no other choice, but I still believe it was a fantastic play. We already got into great detail about this in a previous category, so we can keep it pushing. And, of course, we have Jake blindsiding Drew by working alongside Julie to get Drew out. Now, of course, they also worked alongside D, I believe, and I think they also worked alongside Katorat. I might be mistaken, but I think all of them worked together to get out Drew. I think the only person that didn't vote Drew out was Austin this vote. I might be wrong, but I think that's how it went, and Austin was the imbecile who used the idol on himself instead of using it on Drew. If he just uses the idol on Drew, Drew sticks around, and I think Austin's game would be looked at completely differently because he would be viewed as the one who was in control of the entire Reba 4 dynamic. Because he didn't save Drew, and because he gave so much information to D to be able to outsmart Drew, he basically handed D $1 million and Wendell Holland along with it. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the winner of the 6th category of the 2023 RBR Awards is none other than our brother Caleb. He deserves an award, man. I'm going to keep it real. He had a viral moment that we're going to remember for 20 some odd years, if not more than that. And for that reason, I had to go ahead and give him one. And to be fair, when I really thought about it, there weren't that many tangible, just single moves that were so impressive because BB25 as a season flopped from a move standpoint. Usually Big Brother would take up this category with tons of stuff, but that's just a testament to how BB25 did not deliver on any level whatsoever. So I got to give credit to Survivor. They've been at least delivering and taking advantage of this power vacuum that I believe Big Brother is really leaving open, wide open. Now let's get into the 7th category, and this one is probably going to be heavily debated and highly contested because a lot of people might not agree with my nominees for this one. This is the most overrated player category. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The nominees are as follows. You have Michelle Fitzgerald. She played, of course, Challenge USA Season 2, and she played Challenge 39. In my opinion, Challenge 39, she played a lot better, but she was once again surrounded by all of her friends, so it was easy for her to control things. Plus, she had Jay's punk ass selling out. So, I mean, literally, she had the best of all worlds there. But do any of us expect her to win the season? Of course not, because she's not good in finals, or at least I don't expect her to be any good in a final. Not really. She only won the Survivor season she won because she was considered the cuter girl. Audrey was completely robbed, but that's neither here nor Aubrey. I think that's her name, Aubrey. Was completely robbed, but that's neither here nor there. The next nominee, ladies and gentlemen, is Kaz from the Challenge World Championship. I gotta be honest, when I heard Big T eliminated Kaz in elimination, it immediately, light bulb went off. Man, what would Kaz's entire reputation and legacy be if Jordan didn't carry her to a win? And he only carried her to a win because Tori was constantly sabotaging Danny, so he couldn't take no real shot at Jordan before the end. All those things considered, Kaz is not that impressive to me because she had Theo protecting her because that was his ex. She had Jordan basically coaching her. Jordan had Tori and Bananas protecting him. Even West, to a certain degree, wasn't really trying to target them because they were both on Team UK because of that dumb twist. So, at the end of the day, dog, I just believe she had a lot of help, and I don't really think her game on a standalone season where she has to really prove it on her own with no partner, I don't think she really has the tools to really get the job done like that. I don't think she has a real game mind like that. And for the third nominee, I got Drew Bassel. I really think he's very overrated. I think when you have a black woman on your cast that just wants to play a self-hating game and just wants to target black people all season, it's very easy for your alliance that was already anti-black from the start and working with the most anti-black player from the start in Emily, it's very easy for y'all to stay intact because no one's trying to do anything to mess up the power structure or the dynamic. You know, to this day, I really don't understand what Katorat was thinking. I don't think she knows what she was thinking. And I think that's why she tried so hard to create all these victim narratives. Oh, I can't swim conveniently, but as soon as the comp ends, I somehow know how to swim to the boat. Or how about Bruce, a guy that was from the foster care system? You don't give him any type of benefit of the doubt for the way that he acts, but you think we should care about you because you may or may not have allegedly been arranged in a marriage. And then I come to find out that this grifter of a player, she done blocked me on Instagram. Like, shorty, trust me, I only know about this because I was doing this rant for research purposes. And I found out that, what? Her page doesn't load up. And that's why I'm like, oh, I'm blocked. And mind you, I only went to her page once. I saw the rainbow flag, and it told me everything I needed to know. Because oftentimes, that rainbow flag becomes your identity more than anything you identify as a black woman. So that's what I don't like. How she gets to basically be a chameleon. One minute you're this proud black woman, the next minute you can hate on black people at every turn because you're a black woman. The next minute you can just be this lesbian who doesn't have to identify as anything but your sexual orientation. She literally can weave in and out of the community, and that's why I find her to be quite repulsive. But to get back to Drew, this is a man who capitalized on some of the most divide and conquer, anti-black, self-hating gameplay I've ever witnessed. So to me, what he did wasn't impressive. He did what he should have done, right? It's like, okay, to give you an analogy, we're playing Madden. I'm first and goal on the 1 yard line. I'm doing a halfback dive up the middle. My opponent is not even in goal line defense. They're in a quarters defense with 3 safeties. All right, now maybe y'all don't get that, but basically if you're playing quarters, you're expecting someone to throw the ball deep, which basically means I'm going to run it up the middle easily because you're not even trying your best to stop me. That's Katorat. She didn't even use goal line defense even at the end of the game. And then she tried to blame Jake, who actually tried to make a great move once again with his idle play. She decides to go against the move even though she forced him to swear on his grandma that he would make the move. Then when he makes the move, she gets mad because he made the move, but didn't tell her he had an idol while making the move. So in other words, in every turn, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't with such a dumb player. And for the 4th nominee, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep it real in these streets, coach. It's none other than Potato Chip. And the reason why it's Potato Chip is because a lot of people, because of a few carnival games on Rudolph games, they were prepared to use that to justify why Taylor is the greatest woman to ever play Big Brother. Then as soon as she loses to Nicole, those same people who were prepared to write all these think pieces, they immediately said, oh, it's just reindeer games. It don't mean much. The minute the white girl wins it, all of a sudden it don't have no clout behind the win. But if this girl would have won it, somehow it would have meant something. We got to watch ourselves with these narratives. Because, see, now someone black has already won Big Brother. And this lady specifically has already won Big Brother. Now, if Danielle Reyes would have won, maybe you would have had a point there. But Taylor already won. And the fact that people were prepared to wax lyrical over a win that was never holding any weight because it was a 2-week show. But the minute Nicole wins, all of a sudden everybody's acting like, well, show wasn't that good. Same people who told me I need to cover it, the minute Nicole wins it, then they go, hey man, you were right to not cover it. It's like, wait, what? Oh, you don't want me to clown Taylor now for losing. I see what's going on now. Now all of a sudden, you're admitting the show was no good because you didn't get the outcome you wanted, right? But when I have these opinions, people say I'm too much of a radical for them. It's just funny how I see people with the semantics gymnastics. And to show you all that I predicted that this production team would try to rewrap or repackage Taylor and bring her back in front of us for Christmas, there's a reason why I'm showing y'all the Taylor's Tangent. And of course she won this. She's the nominee who won this category, by the way, for most overrated. At this point, the cat's out the bag, but the reason why I'm showcasing this specific rant called Taylor's Tangent is because I have an excerpt that I want to show y'all. And when y'all hear this excerpt, it's going to be uncanny because look at the date on this. I recorded that rant in July 2023. This was before Rudolph Games was ever confirmed. And when you hear exactly what I say, you're going to be like, wow, this guy's sources are top tier. Listen to this, and you're going to be wowed by it. Serious question, ladies and gentlemen. When will this end? Okay? She has become so insufferable. You know, during the amount of time in between her breakup with Joe and up until now, the BB community was actually beginning to heal itself, Taylor. Imagine that. Ty McDonald pulled off an incomparable victory on Big Brother Canada 11, the season no one watched because of no feeds, because of you, by the way, Taylor. I'm going to keep reminding her of the type of state she put the BB community in as she tries to return and act like she's somehow Santa Claus with a whole bunch of presents. No. You're the Grinch trying to steal Christmas back. Let's talk about it real quick. She's the Grinch trying to steal Christmas back. And what did she do? Made Rudolph Games all about her. They created all these low-budget comps that I could give a rat's ass about. Still never watched a single episode of that trash. But at least I know the results so I can get on that ass. You fella dig me, coach! You know, because that's how her fans are, right? All that matters was the result of her win, not the journey that got them there, right? You all completely sullied and minimized what the black man did to get her that win. But then when it came to 2-week-old Rudolph Games, you made it seem like the journey all of a sudden mattered. Now all of a sudden that the game isn't now that the game isn't 90 days, people act like all of a sudden this journey now holds more weight. That is the most hypocritical take that I've ever seen, but it's laughable. But it once again showcases why you can't really take these people seriously. So listen, congratulations to you, Potato Chip, for winning this award. You deserve it. You're as overrated as they come. From a strategic standpoint, you never come up with a single idea that's ever been implemented and got out a good player. Every HOH you won was very weak. You didn't win a single comp your season of Big Brother. That was impressive. I mean, they created a fashion comp just so you could seem like you could win a comp towards the late stage of the game. Monty had to hold your hand, protect you from yourself when Brittany tried to turn on you, because even Brittany didn't want to see you win. Then all of a sudden you parade her around like she's the greatest ally in existence. You don't know what you're doing. You parade yourself around with Janelle Perzina on Pride Month, but then when you're around other black women for Juneteenth, you're miserable. So I'm not surprised at all that Danielle Reyes snitched on this black alliance that I'm hearing that y'all may have had during Rudolph Games. That sounds like it's on brand for Danielle Reyes to do, because everyone tells me y'all don't really get along. So for all that talk about how you wanted to win because it was the 20th anniversary of Danielle's win, something tells me behind the scenes you don't even like her like that. Because Danielle don't have no reason to dislike you unless you didn't really like her and you was just capping. Because we all know you ain't really a super fan like that. So, now, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, we had to cook her. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get to the 8th category. We're halfway through this award show. I hope you all are enjoying yourself. This is shaping up to be not as long, about half as long as the 4-hour one from last time, but I think the tempo of this is really good, and I think I'm giving y'all a lot of information very quickly. Now we can get into the Most Improved Player Award, ladies and gentlemen, and here are your nominees. For nominee number 1 in the Most Improved Player Award category, it's none other than Kellyanne Judd. Listen, during the Challenge World Championship, Kellyanne was probably the unsung hero. She was one of the few players willing to really upset the apple cart. You had this Team USA, Team UK, Team Australia dynamic. No one really wanted to take a shot at Team USA because everyone wanted to work with Team USA because that's where the Apex production pets were. Kellyanne felt slighted by Bananas and Tori. Bananas and Tori tried to get her to turn on Jody and Benya. She decides to go to Jody and Benya and say, hey, listen, me and Tristan don't target you. You don't target us. Let's force a stalemate and see what happens. Because they called that bluff, they put Ben Driebergen and Casey Clark in the position of not wanting to force a stalemate themselves, which is what led to Ben and Casey, also 2 members of Team USA, backstabbing 2 other members of Team USA and Theo and Sarah. By them making this move, Kellyanne got all the credit because it's what set up Bananas and, of course, Justine to get eliminated by the end of the episode. So, All of this was very impressive, to me at least, and this is why, Kellyanne, you deserve to be here. You played fantastic on Challenge World Championship. As for the second nominee, Corey Wharton, to me, during USA Season 2, he showcased a lot of maturity. He reminded us that in the Invasion of Champions season, I don't know if that was his first season, but that's the season I remember kind of being Corey's real hey, I'm here to stay kind of season. But no, I think it was Bloodlines the first season he did, because he did it with his cousin. Yeah, I think that was the first season Corey did, now that I think about it. But yeah, Corey has always been a player that has had potential, but strategically, he's always had these little hiccups or these little speed bumps. Like, I remember, was it Dirty 30 when he targeted Darrell at the beginning of the game, but he didn't know that there was a redemption house. So when he did it, Darrell kind of returned and vowed vengeance, and it kind of screwed Corey's game over, something like that. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's how it went. But Corey would never make a decision that prematurely in this current iteration of his game. He's a family man now. He has beautiful kids. He has a beautiful wife. And he really feels like he's grown up considerably. And I really appreciated the conversation he had with Chanel, really speaking on the importance of seeing sisters win this show. Corey knows how hard it is as a black man to win it. For him to speak on these things, it was important, And I get it. People are going to say, oh, well, he's mixed. But still, though, we want allies. Who are we to dismiss the allies who are half black? That doesn't even make any sense, right? We got to give credit where it's due. Y'all do and I'm not speaking about the RBR community, but I'm speaking of the outside the RBR community. Y'all do a great job already, and I'm being facetious by saying great. I'm not being serious there. Y'all already do an amazing job of trying to prop up every white ally imaginable, even if they ain't really allies. So I'm a huge believer in giving credit where it's due to people that are actually black, that have an out to not have to be pro-black, that are pro-black. I respect that 100%. So salute to you, Corey, man. You a real one. And I'm rooting for you in future seasons, man, because I appreciate the way you understood the code is what matters most. Because when all else fails, the enemy is going to use the code against you. Now let's get into the third nominee for the category of Most Improved Player. Let's be real here. You can't have this category without Michaela Bradshaw. Michaela Bradshaw, in my opinion, was the spiritual leader of the Secret Garden Alliance. Yes, Desi's the one who won the season, but without Michaela's willingness to go there and really bring that drama, really G-check a few people, yeah, Cassie would talk like a little birdie in your ear, but did Cassie really want that smoke with Michaela at any point? Really? No. Remember, Cassie, I know jujitsu. All of a sudden, Chanel body slams her ass like Snorlax. You fella dig me, coach. And she definitely got paralysis. Shoutouts to the hacks. You fella dig me, coach. That's for the Pokemon fans out there. But in all seriousness, though, Michaela Bradshaw, in my opinion, from start to finish, was the star of this season. I 100% believe it. And for her to go from being a first boot on Spies, Lies, and Allies to making a final. And I know that she got injured in the final, wasn't able to finish it. I don't care about none of that. She gave us everything we needed. All of the moments that made us go, oh, okay. What was Michaela? She G-checked Wes more times than I can count. She got into an argument with Corey. She got an argument, I think she kind of was respectful with Fessy. I think she got into an argument with Corey, though, because Corey didn't want to target Tori at that time. And that's why, another reason why I respect Michaela. She was willing to take the shot that other players were a little bit too gun-shy to take. So she deserves to be here. And for the fourth and final nominee, it's Fessy. In my opinion, Fessy also is one of the most improved players we've seen. We didn't get to see him in Challenge World Championship, but what we got to see out of him in USA 2 was a player who knew when and when not to play too hard. And that oftentimes was Fessy's biggest hurdle, similar to Corey's. The way he understood, at least early on, to not side with Big Brother, which I believe was a mistake long term, but the way he tried to kind of walk that back, protect Tyler, kind of get out Chris by setting him up versus Sebastian, that was smart gameplay in my opinion. Because even if you didn't get out Chris, you still split up Tori and Sebastian, which gave Fessy a bit more influence within the blue team. So no matter what, I can create the argument, Fessy definitely showcased some strides throughout this season, and for that reason, he deserves to be here as well. So for the winner of this category, of the Most Improved Player Award. It is none other than... Come on, y'all. Was there ever any doubt? It's Michaela Bradshaw. Let's just keep it real in these streets. Without Michaela, the Challenge USA 2 is probably boring. I'm being honest. She is the difference in why that season has some rewatchability, but World Championship doesn't. She's the difference. And I like Danny. Sarah grew on me. But at the end of the day, you couldn't pay me to rewatch Challenge World Championship Season 1. And I like Grant too, but you couldn't pay me to watch it again. You just couldn't. So, congratulations to you, Michaela. You did a wonderful job, and you deserve to be here. We're halfway through, and now we're on the 9th category of the 2023 year, ladies and gentlemen. And this category is going to be a bit fun. It's known as the Biggest Grifter, and we got some things to get off our chest in this one. This is a category that the patrons came up with themselves in the comments section of Patreon. So, why not reward you all for your support by giving you all your own category that you all named yourself. And the nominees are as follows. We have Matt Klotz from BB25. This guy grifted his ass off like, I really like Sari. I really like Sari. But not as much as Jag. But not as much as Jag. But not as much as Bowie now. Not as much as Bowie now. You know what? Sari can go before Felicia too. Let's just keep it real in these streets, man. This guy, Matt, capitulated. And he was a guy who got all this credit based around sympathy. You know? All this credit based around sympathy. People were calling him some mastermind when he never was. People acted as if the comps that he won, which were purely athletic, they acted like it was impressive, when if it was any other player, they would actually bitch and moan about it being too athletic because it's not fair to unathletic players. But when it came to Matt, they acted like it was still okay. He literally was the Make-A-Wish kid of the season. He was the charity case. Other people were too scared to say it. I wasn't. And at the end of the day, I'm happy he didn't win the whole game because I was very concerned Potato Chip's legacy would have dictated Matt gets to win, not based off anything he actually did, but based off identity politics. For the second nominee, ladies and gentlemen, it's Kirsten Elwin. And let's just be honest here. I picked this picture for a reason, and I'm going to be in my bag for a second, so please just let me explain. Do y'all remember Kirsten? Do y'all remember when she had all of these problems that she wanted to get off her chest once upon a time? Matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, let me blow this up a little bit more for y'all so y'all can really see what I'm looking at right now. Do y'all see the problem with this picture? Let me just make sure y'all see it. I mean, besides the whole Todrick thing, you know, anyone at Todrick's house, I got to ask questions about your own integrity. I don't think Xavier's ever touched foot in there. I mean, he's a real one, but that's neither here nor there. I just want y'all, like, this is a Where's Waldo picture for a second. Or if you watch One Piece, if you read the manga, Where's Panda Man? Now, that's a good reference right there for those that know. But I just want y'all to look at this picture real quick to my right. See what the problem is with this picture. Okay. Now I want to remind y'all of what Kirsten had to say.
Cameron sat in the HOH with Riley and called me cotton twice on national TV. Twice. And nobody thought it was a problem.
Twice.
That's not racially motivated? That's not racially motivated. I was trying to keep it cool. I hadn't watched back the season. I was trying to keep it cool because I wanted to keep it civil approaching finale night. Now, if I get on here and show my ass because y'all let somebody call somebody else cotton, and he meant it that way, being from the South, being from the part of Georgia that he's from.
What's so ironic about this is you said if I show my ass, and then when you were around him on finale night, you literally showed your ass to him. He's literally right behind you. You could be juking him for all we know. And keep in mind, this is the same woman who was like sitting on some really weird white guy's lap as well during this same after party on finale night. She's down bad. She just wants to swirl. she's lost. She's lost to the game, right? People like this, you just got to let them live the life they want to live. But the problem is, she wanted clout as some victim, when deep down, she's the one with the swirler's fetish. Pick a damn struggle, people. Pick a damn struggle. It's hard for us to feel bad for you when at this moment in time, remember, I had her back. I did. But then when the finale night came around, I saw what she had to do and saw what she did, and I said, it's bad enough you had Todrick's, but now you're grinding up on a few white dudes, not just one. You talk about how he's from the South and what cotton means to you, but deep down, you low-key got the hots for a man that mistreated you. It's a damn shame, y'all.
Talking about how he lived in Texas, worked at Buc-ee's, and that how he can only feel Riley's tears because she looks like his daughter, not mine, and call me cotton on international television, and nobody had nothing to say?
But you cheesing in front of him.
Cameron. Yeah. So whoever has, I mean, I got the link to the video. I could drop it. I could post it on my story. But I'm deciding to handle this with the people I need to handle it with first.
And who is the people you needed to handle this with first? Was it Julie Chen, who you somehow got an interview with on her channel? Who was it? Did CBS hit you up and tell you to calm down because he's going to win AFP and they don't want this narrative being spoken upon right before the finale because they're going to hand him a check just for being a white man who claims to be Latino? See, I need answers now. And people can say whatever they want about me. But you ain't ever gonna see me with no white woman. You ain't gonna never see me married to no white woman. You ain't ever gonna see me huddled up with some white dude that y'all know for a fact was racist and call him my best friend after he did some fuck shit. But oftentimes, it be the women who got the most to say about black men. Because remember, this is the same girl who had a lot to say about Jared. But she wasn't into black men. But he should have just simped like Austin for her. Just because. As she was chasing Matt, who couldn't even hear the shit she was saying while she was flirting with him. Come on. Let's keep it real, bruh. No one's safe. No one's safe. I'm tired of people acting like, oh, that's off limits. No. If the black man, if everything he goes through is never off limits, then nothing she's going through or Matt's going through is off limits either. All right? But let's just keep it real here, man. This is despicable and this is disgusting. But once again, this is a microcosm of the reality TV society. See, a black woman could come out as an outright grift for straight up clout, say these things, then appear in front of the man and just smile in a say cheese. And she can flirt with a white dude in the same damn building less than an hour later, not think twice about the optics, not even care. It's like she's chasing that wild rabbit. See, this is deep. And that's why everything I say in this rant can and will come back to fruition. So understand, Kirsten was supposed to be the potato chip archetype brought back. She was looking for her jailer, her Joe. She saw Matt and said, he's the one for me. We can be cat, tear up my kitty. Only for her to find out, Matt not really into dark meat. Matt wanted Riley, but Riley didn't even want Matt. So she was hoping Matt would settle for her. But before she even left the game, she was mad because Matt and Riley were a thing, even though they weren't. So this is someone who played a terrible game, had a horrible read on men to begin with. Seems like she's out here trying to accuse a white man of something, so he is forced to be guilt-tripped into giving her pipe. Very toxic. But once again, no one calls these things out. She gets to go about her day. But I must say this. If there was a black man doing these things, shitting on a white woman to try to get her to give him the time of day, and then when he's around her, all he want to do is buck his eyes and smile. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Oh, well, we can go to Waffle House now. People would be roasting that brother. Oh, look at this. Another black man just trying to be with a white girl. But when it's a black girl from the islands doing these same things, people act like, oh, well, that's what people from the islands do on occasion. It's a built-in excuse to give them reasoning and understanding. And this is the issue. But let's let her finish while we look at this picture that further showcases the fact that she's one of the biggest grifters.
Because I'll definitely post it. No, because it's outside of Cameron right now. Like, Cameron is Cameron. Cameron is Cameron. Whatever.
And you clearly attracted to him.
Everybody's seen the damn live. Right? Everybody's seen and heard what needed to be seen and heard.
We're seeing it right now, Kirsten. Mm-hmm.
That's all I had to say. That's all I had to say. So when y'all see me acting how I'm acting at finale night, you know why.
And you didn't act any type of way at finale night. In fact, you acted thirsty.
I don't give a damn if he's mental from whatever he's been through. He need to be mental when he see me finale night.
Is that code for you want him to give you head? Like, what's going on here?
I heard he referenced a movie quote. No. That is all. Y'all go scavenge Twitter for it.
It feels like you wanted him to mention a different movie quote from Monsters Ball. I'm gonna make you feel good today. It feels like you wanted him to be your Billy Bob Thornton coach. I'm just keeping it real right now. Oh, we're cooking her. Come on, man. Get up out of here, man. You sound crazy, Kirsten. And this is why you're a nominee for the biggest grifter. Welcome to the hit list. You look crazy out here. Crazy. Now let's get into the third nominee for the biggest grifter award. You know who this next player is, ladies and gentlemen. It's Couture. Oh, man. One of the worst cases of self-hate and lack of understanding I've ever seen. And I really do worry for those that she represents in law. I really do, especially if you're a black man. I'm very concerned she's not going to have any real compassion for you or your freedom. I'm worried she is going to judge you before she even tries to represent you. And I'm worried she won't give her all. That's what I'm worried about, because she did not give every black man on this cast her all. And if she would have done that, she would have won easily, not because she played well, but because she wasn't a black man. She literally could have won this season with ease if she just would have let some of her ego get out of the way. But at every step of the way, she convinced herself that, no, I have to be the one determining this. I have to be the one pushing that. But you don't have the tools in your locker to determine this or push that, because you can't come up with any ideas that make sense before someone else does. Potato Chip had the same problem, to be fair. But at least Potato Chip was smart enough to use the black man for her best interest. You're too tone deaf to even do that, because you're holding on to so much baggage. And that really is what makes this ironic that I chose the picture I did of her saying, I just don't know how to feel about it. Well, the black community don't know how to feel about you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we get to our final person in our nominees list. And this is someone who tried their best to respond to my just knockout punch of a rant. I mean, I roasted this person right before Thanksgiving. It definitely was a feast. And right now, I know some of y'all are perking up like, oh, is he finna return? Is he finna circle the block? Well, your prayers have been answered, coach, because the fourth nominee of the 9th category of the biggest grifter is none other than Kamisha the Snooze. This person, this lady, let me be honest here. I wish the best for you. I really do. But I understand that a lot of what you do is very divisive. And a lot of what you do, you have less of an excuse for attempting to do because you have enough life experience to know better. At every turn, you come off desperate for clout, desperate for attention, desperate to just skyrocket to a certain level of relevance. I was once taught, I heard this from Jay-Z actually. He said the whole world was in a rush, but I wasn't. And because of that, Jay-Z knew what moves to make and what moves not to make. Because he always saw value in himself and he knew he would get there. But he didn't want to get there on someone else's terms, because then you owe someone. He wanted to get there on his own. He didn't rely on the lowest frequency imaginable, albeit he did make music about low frequency type things. But eventually his music began to mature. He started speaking to people about real estate, speaking to people about getting their money right, not just speaking on the easy things to speak on in black culture. There's some growth there, character development there. What I see out of this content creator is a lack of character development. And the way she took out all her anger on Rachel the way she did in that one space, that is what prompted the rant that I once did. And to this day, it's one of my highest liked videos I've ever done. It's up there with Selling Out for Clout. That's a 2022 classic. I mean, it's up there. To this day, people speak highly of that rant. And if you all remember, that was the rant that made her give me one of the weakest comebacks ever. It was the Bigfoot of comebacks. That's a great analogy there. You know, I came at her with nothing but facts. She came at me with a whole bunch of weird shit, accusing me of being a wannabe Kevin Samuels. Well, the irony of it all is, Miss Kamisha, is the idea that you are a wannabe Cynthia G. You just don't have the heart to admit it. And imagine my surprise at the irony for you to say or dismiss what I have to say, which was constructive criticism. It was me actually trying to turn you into the better version of yourself by getting you to see how you're a hypocrite. You took that criticism. Now, I don't know if you became a patron to actually watch it. I don't know if you have subscribers that became a patron of mine and then they gave you a link. I don't know what. I don't even think you really heard what I had to say because your entire rebuttal came off like you didn't hear what was really in what I had to say. Because the majority of what I had to say wasn't really rooted in disrespect, but it was rooted in you are disrespecting black culture with your actions. So imagine my surprise while I'm doing research for this RBR Awards. This is why I love doing what I do, y'all. Because I can pick and choose when I can clap back. And at the end of the day, dog, when I hit or when I take my shot, I don't miss. I'm what you call a sharpshooter. I'm the Bret Hart of this thing. I'm very technically savvy. You feel it, dig me, coach? So, understand, I must reiterate this. This is not a personal thing for me. You try to make it personal. You try to say certain things to draw me into an emotional response because let's just be real here. A lot of people in this reality TV space, they can't debate anyone using solely logic, especially me. They know they'll lose that lane, in that lane. They know they don't have the skill set for that. So they want it to be an emotional game because they want women to rally behind them as this victim once it turns emotional because they want it to get heated so they can be the victim. By me not giving her that second rant at that time, she couldn't play victim. It put her in the position of, what do you have to say to defend yourself? If you have nothing to defend these points that I brought up, then you're running. And that was my initial argument. So when she says that I'm this wannabe Kevin Samuels, imagine my surprise when I'm doing research for this rant, and I find out one of her most recent videos, if not her most recent video currently on her channel, is literally of her desperate for clout enough to defend Corey Holcomb, the creator of the 5150 show, one of the biggest red-pilled comedians in the world, someone the average man would argue has a lot of talking points similar to who? Kevin Samuels. So let me get this straight. I call you out for the things you do, which are very hypocritical, because you play both sides of the plate all the time and act like you're not. Your response is, I'm a wannabe Kevin Samuels because I'm telling the truth and trying to hold you accountable because no one will, because you get to play this game of, well, I'm not a man, so I don't have to hold myself accountable. But then, when you're desperate for interactions, when you've alienated a lot of your male install base by bashing men, that's what will happen. Now all of a sudden, you drop a video a few days ago about Corey Holcomb, and this is what you had to say? Listen to this, y'all. You're going to be shocked.
Just talk to y'all really fast. Everybody's really pissed off at Corey Holcomb right now, comedian Corey Holcomb, because he talks about his daughter. Or dragged his daughter, whatever. I'm going to say some things as a black woman, a mother, all the things, blah, 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 da, real quick.
Listen carefully.
I know as women, we don't want to always hear some of the stuff that men say. Some of the stuff is true. Let's be honest. Okay, I'm sorry. It is.
Well, why couldn't you admit the stuff I had to say about you was true? Why did you dismiss me because I was a wannabe Kevin Samuels, but now, when it's time for you to get your view count up and get some likes, now all of a sudden, you can respect a guy who talks like Kevin Samuels. Now all of a sudden, oh, as a black woman, sometimes we gotta admit men are right. When do you ever admit men are right unless it's for clout? Ooh. I rest my case. Even now, you're proving my point from Thanksgiving. You walked into another trap because you are, without a doubt, the biggest grifter on the map. So congratulations, Kamisha. You have earned yourself an award. It's probably the only award you ever win for that channel. You fella dig me because it's on life support, coach. But with that said, congratulations to you because you earned it. Because once again, you managed to make a fool of yourself. Because people can't see any consistency in anything you talk about. You talk a big game, but when it's all said and done, you're just chasing that wild rabbit of relevancy too. How about you just be consistent and rely on your talent, not shock value, and see where that takes you? Wanna be Cynthia G? Exposed. She's out of here.
Exposed. Exposed.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the 10th category of the 2023 RBR Reality Awards. Oh, I know that got y'all. If y'all was falling asleep, that woke you back up. That was an alarm clock. The 10th category, ladies and gentlemen, is Best Black Ally. This, of course, was another category voted upon and created by the patron base. And I love to always give my patrons what they want when it's within reason, of course. And thank you so much for signing up for another month. And once again, happy Black History Month to all of y'all. All right? And I hope y'all do something special. The weather is getting a lot nicer out here. That's always good. That's always room to celebrate. That's always room to be thankful for things. And hopefully you all are thankful for a lot, all right, this February. All right, so here are the nominees for the category of the Best Black Ally. The first nominee is Blue Kim, the cow-hung viper herself. This lady did what even Potato Chip was unwilling to do. Stand by a black man through thick and thin. She didn't take the first evacuation pod to run away when she could have. Trust me, she could have. She could have rolled that Jag and Matt wave, but let's be real, Jag was still pissed off because she chose the black man over him, so he never was going to let her crack the end. Never. But at the end of the day, Blue Kim Steele never disrespected Jag for betraying her like Applebee's did, because Blue Kim is not as entitled as white women are. Because Blue Kim, she at least has a certain level of understanding of black culture, and that's the difference. When you see a non-black person who's actually been around black people, who's actually been in a hood or two before, who's not just faking the funk for some clout, they tend to carry themselves that way, no doubt. And they don't capitulate for a bag because they know they'll get the bag down the road for just being themselves. They bet on themselves. They don't sell out for the clout. This is the reason why Blue Kim deserves to be a nominee for Best Black Ally. Because her veto win, which is shown here, is what got out Corey's punk ass, whose game was so trash it wasn't even worth a burger. Oh, damn, we getting them, dog. We getting them. Don't worry. Don't worry, dog. He's getting cooked, all right? We putting him on the hibachi grill, all right? Let's get it cracking, all right? And as for the second nominee of the 10th category of Best Black Ally, it's none other than Izzy Fields. She deserves to be here as well. I was the one who spoke on the parallels of how Izzy reminds me so much of Kiefer. I was a huge fan of Kiefer, and if I'm not mistaken, Kiefer won an RBR award as well in the past. Kiefer, I will always speak highly of him, and I'm quite honored to say that he follows me on Twitter. That's dope to me, man. You know, listen, he doesn't have to. You know, no one has to. And I know how easy it is to just be like, hey, I don't rock with him like the rest of y'all don't. I have a real respect for people who says, hey, man, screw public opinion. This person speaks highly of me when no one else will, so I'll speak highly of them when no one else will. That reciprocation there, that means the world to me. And that's part of the reason why I've always been the one that's willing to go against the grain. So, hey, man, much gratitude there. But in terms of Izzy Fields, we lost her too soon, you know? And because we lost her so soon, she couldn't necessarily win the award, but she definitely did enough to at least be a nominee for the award. And that's, I think, the most respectful thing I could say about Izzy. Izzy had Cerise back more than Felicia ever really did. Izzy had Jared's back more than anyone really did, besides Cerise and maybe Blue Kim. Shoot, I definitely believe she may have had Jared's back a little bit more than Blue Kim, at least at that stage of the game for sure. But, I mean, she really had the backs of black players, and she didn't have to play that way. She had an out as well as a white player. But something tells me her being a lesbian, maybe she felt like she didn't really hit it off with the white players that were picked for that cast. You know, the Reds, the Camerons, who she didn't really get along with. She more so clinged more to the professors, the Hisams, the Bowie Janes, the Cerise, the Felicias, the Mimis. Now, she didn't really like Mimi that much, and I didn't like how she was kind of trying to soft target Mimi very early in the game. I spoke on these things, but with that said, I understood it. Izzy didn't want her spot taken up by Mimi, so she had to always keep Mimi as the one that was expendable to a degree. I understand it. But yeah, so Izzy Fields, you deserve to at least be mentioned throughout this award show, because I do believe you were a great story of 2023. And now let's get into the third nominee, ladies and gentlemen. I think it has to be Jake from Survivor 45. This picture in itself tells you what you need to know. This guy truly loved playing alongside black people. This guy was a white guy from Boston. Boston does not have a great reputation. You know, the average NBA player will tell you, I hate playing in Boston because of the certain words that are said to us in the Garden, the Boston Garden. But Jake, he is not the stereotype. Jake is a unique player. I admire the fact that he lost as much weight as he did just to get on Survivor. I admire the fact that even though he had a player like Katorat who was constantly sabotaging him every time he came up with a mastermind plan, he kept trying to come up with more things to do. He never gave up. To me, Jake is the player people say Katorat is. Jake is the guy who was truly the victim of other players' mistakes. Jake was the one who actually tried to give us a season of entertainment, but constantly got Charlie Browned. Jake was the one who truly was trying to help Caleb and Bruce come together, while the Katorats of this world were kind of trying to keep them separated. Jake was the one that was legit trying to bring balance back to Survivor. And for that reason, you also deserve to be a nominee. And the fourth nominee of the 10th category is Johnny Bananas, a guy who completely shocked me. A guy who, let's just keep it real, his decision of taking Tanisha with him to Final 3 so she didn't have to compete for the third slot in the House of Villains finale was literally Bananas handing the win to Tanisha. That was a selfless act that I didn't think I would see from a Bananas, man. And for that reason, I gotta keep it real. I never thought I would say this, but Johnny Bananas won the award for the best black ally of the year. I never thought I would think this. I never thought I would say this, but this is an indicator of how special 2023 was, y'all. So for that reason, congratulations, Johnny Bananas, man. You've grown a lot, man. You deserve some credit for that. Now let's get into the 11th award. This is going to feel like the inverse of the Best Black Ally Award because it's called the Stone Age Award. And this award is, of course, a brand new award, a.k.a. the Most Anti-Black Player Award. And these are the nominees as follows. Heidi Lagares from Survivor 44, one of the more anti-black players I've ever seen. And if I'm not mistaken, she was Puerto Rican. And I know a lot of Puerto Ricans got black in them. It's a shame that no Puerto Rican on this season had the back of anyone black, Yam Yam included. I remember how they stumped Lauren out before the end of this game. I remember. And then for your second nominee, ladies and gentlemen, it is Emily Flippin, a player who I believe the way people talk about her as if she's some iconic player, it is disgusting. It is repulsive. It is literally people considering her legendary for being an outright bigot from day one. And the narrative is she was courageous for speaking her mind on that mat. When the truth is, if anyone else did those things that wasn't white, that would be used to constantly paint a target on them for every tribal they're ever in for the rest of the game. Emily somehow made a mistake by talking too much, went on a tribe with black people, then played victim because of the mistake she made and created the argument, oh, they're working together, of course they're gonna align. Well, because you said the shit you said, they gotta align, you dumbass. But once again, this is the culture we're in, where this white woman can say whatever she wants, and the narrative is she's still redeemable. The black players gotta be overly inclusive of her, cause if they give her the energy she gave to Bruce back, the narrative is, these black players, we don't like them. They're making this game bad. We want it to go back to the way Survivor used to be. You know, with 95% white people winning every time. But when black people win somewhere around 10%, people act like it's a big deal. Oh, so there's a 5% increase. Whoop, whoop, big whoop. But somehow this girl, Emily, because she won one reward competition where she could go to Sanctuary. To my knowledge, she won no individual immunities. I don't believe she won any individual immunities. She didn't really do anything. Like, she really didn't. They treat her like the girl from a couple of seasons ago with one leg. They treat her like she's her. Like she's the one that has to have constant sympathy, and I just don't understand it. It once again showcases, like, you could just be any white woman and you automatically get a certain amount of tender loving care that no one else can get. And when I speak on these things, I'm somehow being too harsh if you let the average person tell it. But the truth is, I'm not being too harsh. Every black fan has a right to not like this player. And the way this production team gave her an edit as if she was some mastermind when all she did was literally protect Drew, hide behind him, hide behind him, hide behind him, be mad at Bruce for what she did Bruce wrong with, and then have a guilt in her mind about how she mistreated Bruce before she ever got to know him, and then she lies to Bruce, backstabs him, takes him out with his idol, and then that leads to her going home right after Bruce, but she's too dumb to realize she should have worked with Bruce because she was too anti-black to work with Bruce. But the narrative is, she can't be anti-black, Dave. She worked with Katora. Oh, the anti-black black woman? So because you worked with someone else who's anti-black that is black, that means you're pro-black? That's how dangerous feminism is. Because they'll walk circles around you with all these think pieces and all these talking points when it's all nonsensical. And at the end of the day, she did nothing to prove she's pro-black because she never did right by a black man. Everything she did right by Caleb with, she had to do for survival at that moment. The minute she could link to Drew, she never really gave Caleb the time of day again. Not really. Not really. And if she really cared about what was best for her long-term game, she would have made sure Drew left before Sifu. She would have split up the Re before. And she would have had to hope Caleb could survive on the other side. Because remember, if I'm not mistaken, her tribal council happened first. Caleb's happened second. So, listen, man. From my perspective, I just look at this from the perspective of, man, she is somebody who gets a lot of credit for not doing anything. Meanwhile, the black man in Bruce, he can win clutch immunity after clutch immunity while having an idol in his pocket, and everyone just goes, oh, he's supposed to win it. As if Austin is just some chump that's not athletic. Like, then when Austin finally beats Bruce in something, everyone celebrates. Like Austin's some underdog when he's like 20 years younger. He should be winning these comps. Like, I rest my case. Now let's get into the third nominee of the Stone Age Award, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, I had to roast Emily a little bit. It's Apple Corey as a tandem. And honestly, ladies and gentlemen, They make my job too easy. And see, listen, I'm not tone deaf. I know Apple Corey, they definitely watch my content, and I know this was them trying to take a subtle jab at me. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, these are two individuals that don't have any black friends. These are individuals who would never crack jokes that you are about to hear right now. They would never crack this joke in a room full of black people. Corey would piss his pants if he was in a room full of black people saying the shit he's about to say here. Some of y'all may have never heard this before, so I'm just letting you know. Trigger warning, because they actually said this shit before, and I think they said it on Instagram. Here we go.
She's anti-black.
Because I'm not a person of color.
Horrifying Big Brother news. Corey calls America anti-black, and America distinguishes herself from a person of color and says that she can pass as white. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's not a POC to Heisen.
I've talked about this with Corey.
She's anti-black.
Now, I want to say this first. Corey thinks he's being slick. He thinks he's sneak dissing me, but he's actually proving my point, right? He's so tone deaf, he's making a mockery of what anti-blackness is. But I guarantee you, the community he comes from, they take anti-Semitism very seriously. So it once again showcases his lack of compassion for any other race or creed of people. This is the same guy who said Jag's turban was a pet peeve of his. In this current climate of what is going on in Palestine, it's very interesting how that was just scrubbed from the internet as well. And all of a sudden, Corey just votes for Jag to win, and it's like he's absolved from what he had to say about Jag's turban. But the narrative is, oh, Corey would have always voted for Jag over Matt, when that's not necessarily true. Before the finale aired, Corey was speaking on Matt like Matt was this amazing player. Now, to be fair, Matt gave one of the worst finale speeches we've ever heard. He probably made the decision a little easy. But with that said, I must provide that context to get y'all to see. You let someone keep talking, they gonna show y'all their true colors. And I guarantee you, this video was created to try to bait a response out of me, most likely. But me, I'm living my life. I'm covering other shows. I didn't even know these things happen until I started doing research for the award show. So when I see this, I'm like, huh? I'm like, these people actually said this, and they still have a fan base, and there's still people saying that anti-blackness isn't real? When we actually have a woman who is Mexican that would rather identify as white because she knows that guarantees her life is easier, which explains why she only dates white men? But mind you, they'll pick her for this cast of Big Brother so she can count as a brown person technically. So this was production's way of kind of giving us the 50% by POC, but it's underhanded because they're still making sure there's more white people around to be the majority. So I'm someone who doesn't allow ignorance to be an excuse. Let's keep it real. Applebee's is considerably older than him. He's not the leader in this relationship. She is. She allowed him to say this, and for them to have a child behind them, who I'm assuming is her little sister or her little niece or cousin, whoever. I'm not trying to disrespect the kid, but I think it's really sad that they're already teaching this child behind them racism. They're already teaching that child behind them racism is okay. And that child is going to grow up being even worse than Applebee's and Corey. Because they're seeing firsthand you can get followers and money donations from being anti-black. They just fell into a trap just like Kamisha. But once again, Corey's supposed to be book smart. We can all tell he ain't street smart.
Because I'm not a person of color. I'm a Latina, and it's not me trying to distance myself from my Latinidad, but I just think it was incorrect for Heisem to say that I had the same struggles growing up as a person of color would, since I am white passing.
Mm-hmm.
This is reprehensible, racially insensitive, and disturbing. Corey, you should be ashamed of yourself.
I'm gonna let this white dude get at you, dog. I ain't even gotta say no more. Go ahead and cook him.
Firstly, the people that say he was joking, it is not funny.
It's not.
At all. Historically, African Americans in our country have faced discrimination, prejudice, injustice, and have to live in fear daily on the basis of the color of their skin. This deep-rooted prejudice permeates every facet of society, still today. Jokingly calling someone anti-black in this political climate is completely dangerous, irresponsible, immature, and shows a lack of education. I'm appalled by this, and I think Corey and America owe the black community a sincere apology. Please let me know if you are equally repulsed and offended by this repugnant language.
So, congrats to the dude who made this. Don't know his name. I found this randomly. Salute to him. He didn't have to say all of that. Now, I don't know. This could be like some sarcasm too. I'm not sure. I don't know the guy's CV. I don't know his history. This could be a gigantic joke to every party involved. But everything he said was still right. Very insensitive. It's setting a horrible precedent. You got a child behind you that you are influencing negatively. Shoot, I think Corey is still a child because he ain't even, 22, 23 yet? This dude ain't really had no real life experience yet. But he's talking like one of these preppy little punks, little petulant punks. But this guy wants us to believe he was a high school quarterback. If you were a high school quarterback, that means you had black football teammates if your team was any good. I don't know a football team in high school that was good that didn't have black dudes on it. Not really. Now, you might see a few schools that are like Catholic schools here and there where you do got some white dudes that's really, really, really big. But for the most part, you got to have some brothers at them skill positions if you want to really perform well. That's why they find them out of other districts and pluck them. And they make sure they come to their school, you know? I'm saying all this to say, what better way to showcase how anti-black, how bigoted their entire fan base is, that they can crack that joke and their fan base don't even check them for it. This will be the same fan base that tells me I don't have a right to call them anti-black. Meanwhile, they're trying to jump in front of it, turn it into a joke, and they're trying to disarm the actual allegation. But the truth is, they wouldn't make a joke of it if there wasn't some truth to it. Because if there was no truth to it, wouldn't they be offended? Oh, see, we're getting somewhere. Someone who's truly a racist takes pride in being one. What they just did came off like they are proud, so proud, they can make light of it. Y'all not hearing me. These are the type of people that would never crack the joke in a black restaurant, in a black stadium, in a black household, in a black public school. They do this in the privacy of their own homes. And here's the thing. They also don't have to work at jobs where there are predominantly black people either. They get to be heavily coddled and sheltered. They get to be heavily justified, recognized, and propped up simply because they aren't black. They get to live off of that privilege. And kudos to Applebee's for at least admitting she's privileged. But we already knew that. That was quite redundant. But it's the idea that she was chosen not because she was a white passing Mexican. She was chosen. Well, hold on. Let me take it back. She wasn't chosen because she was Mexican. She was chosen because she was a white passing Mexican. She wasn't chosen because she was a super fan. She was chosen because she was a white passing Mexican super fan. But this is the same woman trying to get y'all to believe she was some huge Taylor Hale fan. But she is okay with the joke about being anti-black. Connect the dots and you'll see that they were grifting all along too before the season began. And let's not forget Corey's brother, one of the original grifters of the reality TV space, acted like he was attracted to a black woman just because she became a millionaire. Who has Zach dated since he was with Marianne? Has he checked in on any black women since? That's an indicator that he was never really into Marianne. He was into what she could provide for him. It was reverse gold digging. but no one calls it out. Because in that one case, people are happy for the woman who's not that attractive getting the guy she wants. But then people hate on Nicole Franzel for the same thing. Ooh, you see how I come back full circle again? I know. There's no one as good as me at this. Now let's get to the fourth nominee. It's Katorat. She deserves to be in the Stone Age setting. Because at the end of the day, that's the game that she played. But luckily for her, she's not the one who won this award. I think at this point, y'all know who won the award. But let's get the drum roll going. The winner of the 11th category, known as the Stone Age Award, is none other than the booger-eating bandit and his open box policy quesadilla crafting girlfriend, Applebee's. There was no other possible group or no other possible player who could qualify for this award other than them. Mainly because no other couple in the history of Big Brother has ever been so beloved for being so problematic without doing anything tangibly in the game. There is nothing anyone can say they have done as a couple that is actually tangible. Because everything that you can say that they deserve credit for doing, guess what? Other players also share credit for joining in on doing with them. They decided to work with players who had a higher chance of winning comps just to stump out black players after Jared left that couldn't win comps. Their anti-blackness made them incapable of making a move that would put both of them in a position to be in Final Two. Applebee's, her unwillingness to stop flirting with multiple men almost ruined Corey's, actually it did effectively ruin Corey's game and Cameron's because they went out back to back. They went out back to back, then Blue Kim got taken out, then Applebee's got taken out in a double. She sabotaged the games of the men that she was too much of a pick-me, that she was so much of a pick-me that she had to rely on. And for what? What was the point of flirting with all of these men? You almost ruined Cameron's reputation. Luckily, the casuals liked him because they weren't watching feeds and didn't know the narratives about what people were saying about him at the time. But she was the one creating those narratives, trying to play a victim in front of the other black women that she was uncomfortable around. So she had to create a narrative that, hey guys, I'm really uncomfortable around Cameron, to throw them off the scent that she's actually comfortable around him enough to dance in his face. As if she's Selma Hayek and From Dusk Till Dawn. I ain't forgot the joke. I ain't forgot the joke. Shorty is flea market. I can't even call her that. Let me stop. She's not even flea market that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the next category. They make me itch. I discussed them too long. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the next category. It is Best Alliance. We are in our final 4 categories, ladies and gentlemen, coming up. Final 5 categories now because we're on the 12th one now, but ladies and gentlemen, it's about to get really good. But these are mainly the ones that are mainly built around strategy, less about all of the other things. But I definitely wanted to fit in some of those other things because my channel also incorporates those other things. But for the 12th category known as Best Alliance, here are your nominees for the 2023 RBR Reality TV Awards. We got to give it to the Minutemen. They are the first nominee, ladies and gentlemen. Self-explanatory. They both made Final Two. I just think Matt kind of holds Jag back here. I think if Matt held his weight a bit more, I think there's a strong argument to be had that both of them could have ran away with this award. But unfortunately, they won't. Sorry to bury that lead. The Secret Garden Alliance. I mean, an alliance of sisters who are actually on code with brothers, even if the brothers aren't all from Survivor or the sisters aren't all from Survivor. The way they rocked with Monty, the way they rocked with Corey, the way they rocked with Tiffany, and the way they still found a way to play the dog shit out of Michelle and Cassidy, the way they played this game, the way they made the deal in principle with Tori Deal, the way they made the deal in principle with Johnny Bananas, which gained them safety throughout the rest of the game pretty much. It was all very, very, very well crafted, and I got to give them a lot of respect because they played an exceptional game. And honestly, I think Chanel really did a great job too, because she was the one who eventually took out Cassidy right before the final, and that's definitely what they needed. They needed someone to get her out so they could push forward as a group. And this is the third nominee, ladies and gentlemen. The Reba 4 from Survivor 45. I think they earned the right to at least be a nominee for this award. But you know how I feel about this group. I only really rock with Julie. D, now I know what time she's on. She seems to be a black home wrecker, if you ask me. Now, the narrative is she didn't know that Wendell had a wife, or Wendell had a baby mama, or Wendell had a family, or Wendell had a woman, a girlfriend who was currently pregnant while he was grooming or allegedly wooing her. That's the narrative that they want to play. But you got to understand, I believe Wendell is incentivized to kind of create the narrative that D is a victim here, because that's the only way he could possibly continue something with her if he keeps that narrative going. Otherwise, he would lose her forever, right? So, I don't know, man. Me being someone who understands how the game is played, there's something that's fishy there. And I don't think D is all that innocent. I really don't. Because the way she did Austin wasn't innocent at all. She was very calculating how she played that boy. But now we'll get into the fourth nominee, ladies and gentlemen. It is Bananas and Tanisha. I thought they also deserved to be here because they were a great story, which capped 2023 and kind of kicked off 2024. So, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Best Alliance Award is none other than... I know the Mighty Mob, Miss Selena, gonna love that, the drum roll. It's the Secret Garden Alliance, ladies and gentlemen. The alliance of Desi, Tiffany, Michaela, and Chanel. In my honest opinion, this alliance was dominant. I know people like to include those white women in the Secret Garden. I don't count it. They was getting played. They just don't know it. You feel it, dig me? You know how like there are onion alliances. Like there's the core onion and then there's layers to it. They was on a few layers on the outside. They wasn't in that nucleus. This is the nucleus, coach. That's the nucleus. And I really do respect that nucleus because that nucleus had everything you needed. Tiffany, the way she G-checked Josh. Get your ass down here then. Like all of that was hilarious to me. And of course Michaela eventually was forced to match up against Tiffany and take her out. It's just how the dreidel was spun that episode. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, this award couldn't go to a better alliance in my opinion. I think they are the Palace of Challenge USA 2. And you all know I really appreciated the Palace in All-Star Season 2. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the third category of the 2023 RBR Awards. The 13th category is none other than the Worst Player of the Year Award. Ooh, it's getting frosty. The first nominee for the Worst Player is none other than Dusty. And Dusty played a dusty game in Challenge USA 2. I still to this day don't understand what Caston was thinking. It felt like he was just placed there to be a buffer for Bananas. I don't know. The way Dusty went off on Tiffany the way he did. And I think that's what got Tiffany thrown in that episode, if I'm not mistaken. Really dumb gameplay on Dusty's part. I still don't know what Dusty's game was. I still don't understand what his purpose was. I still don't know what his route was to the end. It just felt like he was just working with he was part of that Team Red, Team Blue coalition. But he was never really insulated in that core alliance or that nucleus. So, like, I just didn't understand what his late game win condition, what he thought it was. And he never really explained what he thought it was. And that's why he just felt like a plot device, you know? And I'll give him some credit. He competed fairly well against Wes, and he definitely didn't embarrass himself in that competition. But all in all, I thought he embarrassed himself overall in the strategic department, and that's why he qualifies as one of the worst players of the year. The second nominee, it's got to be Kirsten for her kerfuffle. You know, the first week of the game, she was just sharing information, telling people lies, creating narratives that Corey and Red were in some all-white alliance. She was doing things that was setting back the black community years. And when you do stuff like that, you're just giving white people incentive to lump us all in with each other, even when we aren't necessarily aligned yet. And to me, that definitely constitutes a terrible player. And then when you compound that on her trying to create a narrative Cameron's racist, and then she wants him to jump her bones later like it's Monsters Ball, I just lost all respect for the lady. Now for the third nominee, of course we have Katora yet again. This was her third nomination of the entire award show. I don't think she's won an award yet, but at the end of the day, it's a testament to just how supernatural her own self-hating anti-blackness was. I mean, we don't got to go deep into her game because we've been there already and done that. And for the fourth nominee is Bowie Jane, a player who's similar to Apple Corey. Could have worked alongside those black women as soon as Jared was gone, could have found a way to really reconcile with them, but she knew deep down she couldn't beat any of those sisters at the end. Okay, cool. Well, how about you work with Corey and Applebee's to get out Felicia and Suri in Final 5, and then you take Applebee's to Final 2, you win the game. Bowie Jane did not understand the game enough to know that she had a real shot to win it. It's like she was just banking on Jag being scared of being in Final 2 with Matt and hoping he drags her and she wins because of identity politics, not because she outplayed Jag at any point of the game. And that's just my opinion on it. So, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Worst Player of the Year award, mainly because we don't really have to waste too much time on this one, I'm just going to be completely honest, it's quite self-explanatory. It's without a doubt Katorat. And the reason why it's Katorat is quite simple, right? Kirsten, even though she was a terrible player, I believe the twist that set her up as one of the nominees alongside, wasn't she on the block next to Jared starting off the game, but then like Jared, he got veto used on him, which got Felicia nominated or something like that. Because I think Jared and Kirsten were the initial nominees. It was something like that that happened. It was very unfair, and that's why the Stone Age started off the season. And that's why a lot of people were really nervous at the beginning of 25. So to a certain extent, I will give Kirsten that bly, that leeway. Even though I don't really like her as a person very much, I do know she also had a rough shake of things at the start. Dusty, this is a guy who never really had talent for the game, and while he is terrible, he still gave Wes a really good fight. And for that reason, I can't constitute him as being the worst player necessarily, because if you can give Wes a real good fight, you're not that bad. Bowie Jane, she made Final 3 of her season, and she won a lot of comps. Well, a lot is me being generous. She won a few comps, so I'll give her that much. Katorat won nothing. She did nothing. She just moaned, whined, shitted on people who actually had her back, and then she waxed poetic about all the people who never had her back, and that was her game the entire season. And because she created the narrative that she was a victim her whole life, everyone wiped away all of her mistakes and said she can make mistakes because her past was fucked up. Meanwhile, when it came to Bruce and his past, they said, fuck your past, Negro. You're expected to do better and rise above that adversity. It is what it is, but that's just how it spins, sometimes for us brothers, right? So now let's get to the 14th category, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so happy we could leave Katora in the past now moving forward. But in future Survivor seasons, I'm sure her impact will be felt. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get into the 14th category of the RBR Reality TV Awards, ladies and gentlemen. And I hope you all are enjoying yourself up until this point, okay? The 14th category is the Best Player Award, and the nominees are as follows. We got our brother Danny McCray. How about them Cowboys? Hey, Danny, I didn't know you did a Cowboys podcast, man. I'm locked in. I'm tuning in. I'm tuned in. I'm listening now every week, bro. Keep doing your things, man. I rock with the Players Lounge. He's definitely here. Let's just be real here. Danny and Tori could have easily won the Challenge World Championship if Tori wasn't so busy trying to help her ex-boyfriend win. Can we just keep it real? Like, if Tori really was more fixated on being the face of the challenge and keep winning to justify her first win with Devin wasn't a fluke, she easily wins with Danny. But she got caught up in this, well, Jordan, he basically sabotaged everyone else so I could win with Devin, so let me repay the favor to him now. That's basically the game she played, and Danny was a victim of that. And for that reason, it's sad. But at least Danny can say he won the hardest final in Challenge USA history. And then, of course, you have Michaela Bradshaw, the winner earlier of the Most Improved Player Award, and rightfully so. She returns for the Best Player of the Year award. I think she deserves to be here. I know there's going to be people saying, hey, where's Desi at? With all due respect to Desi, I don't think Desi played the better game. I don't. I just think she played the better final. I hope that makes sense. That's my reasoning. The third nominee, we're going to go Ty McDonald here. He hasn't been spoken on at all this whole rant, but you see him in the thumbnail. I know y'all was waiting to see this, brother. Let's just keep it real. No one really watched this season as much as they probably would have because there were no feeds. But I did my research after the season was over and found out this brother was really against the 8-ball, and he kept clutching things. He could have easily won the best clutch player. But I just thought there were other players because I didn't watch the season from start to finish, every episode. I thought it was really hard to create the argument he was necessarily the most clutch because I didn't see his clutch moments like that. But I can do research and see what he overcame from a strategic standpoint. I can do research and see how he worked with almost every player on the entire cast by the end of the game. All these things show me that he is the type of player who truly is worthy of being a Ty who won Big Brother Canada. And, of course, we have Yam Yam, who is yet to make a real appearance. I gave Carolyn a nominee earlier in the episode, but, of course, Yam Yam deserves to be here as well because a great tandem should be represented equally. And that's why I believe Yam Yam deserves to also be a nominee for the best player. But who is the winner, ladies and gentlemen, of this category? That's the question. Drum roll, please. The winner of the best player of the 2023 year, from an RBR perspective, is none other than Mr. Game Time himself, the shot caller himself, the Ty we can all ride with, the Ty who brought respect back to the name Ty, Terrell McDonald, T-Mac. The man throwing oops off the glass, dunking it with one hand. The man who was in a showmance with a white girl and still got her to the end. A man who played a game so impressive, even her white friends wanted to vote for him over her. You fella dig me? Oh, that's different sauce right there. We talking about a brother who was working with this player, who was working with Santina, eventually working with Kuzi, working with Claudia, working with her, bodies, huh? And before the end of the game, he had a whole bunch of bodies on his name. You fella dig me? He deserves to be here, and he deserves to take home a trophy. Congratulations to you, Ty. I wish you could have had live feeds so we could really see you get it cracking. But I'm still happy you got the win, all right? I don't consider it a bubble ring. I consider it legitimate because clearly I like you more than the other Ty. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to our second to last, category. It is the Best Reality Show Award. It is the award given to, in my opinion, the best season of reality TV of the year. And the nominees are as follows. You have Challenge USA Season 2, Survivor 45, Big Brother 25. I ran out of nominees. I could have just made this 3, to be honest, because it didn't deserve to be here. But I couldn't pick anything else, really. And House of Villains. Who do you all think won this? Drum roll, please. The winner of the Best Reality TV Show of 2023. And I'm going to be honest, this really came down to 2 shows. But the winner is none other than House of Villains. I'm going to be real with y'all here. To me, House of Villains, for a cast that only had 10 players, for it to be that entertaining, for it to deliver, for it to have those moments that shocked us, for it to have a player in Shake who made me into a fan, for it to have Johnny Fairplay simping his ass off for bananas. I mean, he was down bad. For it to have Tanisha going at it with Omarosa going at it with New York. I mean, it was the Hunger Games. It was the Infinity War. I still can't get over New York owning Omarosa on her way out the game. And then you had Omarosa faking that injury, acting like Kevin Owens. You feel it, dig me, God? At the end of the day, Coach, I love everything that this season provided. It was a brand new show. It was a brand new intellectual property. They took a chance. They knocked it out of the park. And whenever you take the chance on a new show and it's a hit, guess what? It puts more pressure on these other shows to get better. Because if you're not careful, this going to be the show people going to want to watch over your show. If you're not careful, this going to be the show that's going to start to clash with you on network TV at the same time during the same exact time of the year, if you're not careful. And they started off with a great pilot season. They picked the right cast. I didn't know all of these players before the cast began, but by the end of it, I felt like I've known them for years. That's a testament to how good the edit was. Had plenty of funny moments, plenty of fantastic quotes, and plenty of good gameplay. And all in all, I just think it is the most deserving show of this award, and I hope you all agree with me here, because that's just my honest opinion. I believe they deserve it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we can get to the final category of the year. It's bittersweet that we are finally here. But I want to say thank you so much for your support, and thank you so much for watching this video all the way through. Once again, please don't forget to comment underneath this video and give me your thoughts on every category. Please comment and tell me who you would have picked for the categories. All right? Who you believe deserve to win said award. I'll truly appreciate that. But let's get into it. The 16th category and final category of the RBR 2023 Reality TV Awards is none other than the Rant of the Year. For the first nominee, we have No More Disney Plus, a rant that shook everything up. I made that rant around April. This was around 420, if I'm not mistaken, when I made this rant. Hold on, let me zoom this in a little bit, because I can't even really see this. But I am kind of interested. Yeah, this was around 420. Oh, I was definitely smoking that Taylor pack. Well, really the jailer pack. You feel what dig me go? Oh, the jokes is flying off the panhandle. This gonna have replayability. Damn. Like, bruh, it's like 4:30 in the morning right now, and I'm still cooking. I feel like this is another version of a certain rant that just might be a nominee, because No More Disney Plus isn't the only nominee. We also have Cooked Under Pressure. The rant that this rant is very reminiscent of, because I'm Team No Sleep and I'm here to provide entertainment of the highest order to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. You all love the Cook Under Pressure rant. It was the first time we got to experience Pressure Cooker together. It truly was an amazing experience for me, and it will always be something that I always will remember doing. And if you all remember, this is the rant that started the Applebee's nickname. Think about yourself here. I still would take at least one person, Black. But
four-person dinner? And it's probably going to be really fancy. Oh, my Maybe God. Applebee's.
Did I just hear America say Applebee's is fancy? My guy, she's for the streets, bro. She's for the streets. Streets? What? Did y'all just hear that? Man, do I gotta rewind that for y'all? Classic moment in RBR history.
That's
here.
Okay, all right. That's pretty solid. 3 people? That's a 4-person dinner?
And it's probably going to be really fancy.
Oh, my
Maybe
God.
Applebee's.
Corey. Now, mind you, this is a girl who's aware of the fact that she's white passing and acts like she's better than other brown women because she's white passing, but she thinks Applebee's is fine dining. So it just goes to show, hey man, you can bleach the skin a bit, but that don't mean nothing, right? At the end of the day, how valuable is your spirit? And how much do you value your own taste palette? You feel dig me? And how much do the men you date value you to take you to better places other than Applebee's? That's all I got to say. But anyway, we can continue. You really out here flaming out for someone who thinks Applebee's is fancy? That bottle flip is classic, by the way. What is going on? Hey man, maybe it's the Black asleep. What is this? Applebee's is fancy, coach? I don't get it either. Literally, there are kids in high school that go to Applebee's. Recreationally. I love that line. Some like the appetizers. But it's fancy, coach? Look at that live chat. They going nuts right now. You might got a shot with this one. You know, upon further review, maybe he's not offsides. Oh, man. She's for the streets. Are you kidding me, coach? Nah, Corey, if you would have heard that sound bite, there's no way you flame out for her, bro. Come on, man. I was expecting her to say something else. He still must not have heard that soundbite. I ain't gonna lie. If he cracking jokes about her being anti-black, thinking shit sweet, wait until you find out she think Applebee's. Matter of fact, hey, Corey, a college student, he probably think that's a W because that's probably all he can afford right now. The more I think about it, you know, it's hard out there when you in college, man. That ain't even a diss. That's just me understanding how it is, man. You gotta show up for happy hour, man. Get them wings, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Get them 99-cent brews when you can. I know how it is. You know what I'm saying? At least say Chili's. She said Applebee's, dog. Eating good in the neighborhood? What? Huh? And no disrespect to Applebee's. I don't mean for y'all to catch this stray, but Shawty was talking like she talking about Papa Do's or something. Shawty was talking like she going somewhere you gotta be suited and booted. Like, it's gonna be something fancy, like Applebee's. Production immediately pressed the button. Oh no, she looks crazy right now. We'll be right back. Facts. Bird behavior. Like, what is this, coach? I'm cooking on an early Friday morning. The shadow realm awaits right now. Now I see why y'all gotta sneak this a dude on your IG page that no one cares about, for real. I see why you gotta do it. Because my ability to roast you, I have a better sense of humor than y'all. So the only way for y'all to act unbothered is to play the joke game back. But trust me, bruh, y'all don't want to play the dozens with me, man. I can tell y'all grew up in very nice homes, okay? Y'all weren't built for this type of smoke. Y'all just really weren't. And we can just leave it at that, but I just think it's so funny that the Applebee's nickname, it has traveled so well. I know some people, they don't even remember her real name. They just remember Applebee's. Truth be told, there are people still buying the Apple Corey merch. Anti-Apple Corey, there's people still buying that merch right now, y'all. It's insane to me. And I be in the cut laughing my ass off because people told me, hey, Dave, this probably isn't the smartest type of merch to sell because it's going to go out of style eventually. But when I show people this award show, how does it not make more of y'all want to buy more of that type of merch knowing that they're making a mockery of being anti-black? So, hey, man, the best way y'all can stick it to them is to constantly go to these networking events, letting them know you don't rock with that shit, bruh. That's how I feel, and hopefully y'all feel similarly, but let's get into the final two nominees for the Rant of the Year category. We, of course, have the Stone Age Storm, a rant that people really love that was Patreon exclusive. This was around the time where I believe Cameron decided to target Mimi. I think this was the beginning when, was this the beginning? Or was this, I think this was the beginning. I think this is when he started changing his mind on Corey. In my 20-second, I expose how racial double standards online play the biggest role in AmeriCorey's biased coverage versus the black players. So this may have been before the Applebee's nickname. I'm not sure. Because I remember early in the season, I was just throwing rants out. Because that was when the season was actually worth watching, right? And then it started getting terrible, and then you started to see me slow down because I could care less. But I was covering other shows as well, so it wasn't that much of a big deal, at least to the patron base, maybe to the public. But as for the fourth and final nominee for the 16th and final category for Rant of the Year, it is none other than Cooking Kamisha, a Thanksgiving Feast. In my opinion, it deserves to be here as well because that is another rant that really shocked people because it came out of nowhere, but it was so good. A lot of people to this day believe it's one of the best ones I've ever made. I believe a lot of my best rants are ones I don't tell y'all about before I drop it because it's like a nice surprise, and then you walk in and you're like, whoa, all of this is going on right now? What the hell? But of course, I also like to let y'all know what's coming as well because I want y'all to always know the content is always on its way. But the winner, let's go get into it. The winner of the final category, who is it? The final award for Rant of the Year in the 2023 Recency Bias Radio Reality TV Awards is none other than Cooked Under Pressure. Ladies and gentlemen, the amount of love that I was shown for this rant was through the roof. I had people warning me that, hey, bro, you do know that if you do a stream pass, I think people told me if you do a stream pass like a certain amount of hours, YouTube would just delete the video or something crazy. Like, I didn't even know all this. And luckily, I had viewers who warned me, and this is what prompted me to make part two. And because I made part two was the one that didn't get copyright striked, if you remember, and that's why the Applebee's joke will always be publicly accessible. So I just want y'all to know that if you ever want to go back and watch it for yourself, the timestamp is actually in the comment section. One of my patrons actually provided it for you all, so you could always watch it whenever you want. But luckily, because you're patrons, you could always just come back to this rant and watch it and really clown Apple Corey on your own time. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to the 2023 Recency Bias Radio Reality TV Awards. I'm Dave Smith, your humble host, and hopefully you all have had a wonderful time here with me this evening. This rant is going to be out before you all most likely start your work day today on this Monday morning, Monday afternoon. I wanted to get this out to you all. I didn't want to go to sleep and wake up and do it in the morning because then you won't have it for your shift when it first kicks off, and that can make a huge difference, you know. And I really want to, and during this Black History Month, I really want to do stuff that really pays homage to my ancestors. And my ancestors, our ancestors, they were relentless when it came to justice. They were relentless when it came to calling out people who weren't shit. They were relentless when it came to speaking their minds and speaking their truth and knowing they have a right to speak it. Because I'm aware of my history, because I'm aware of our history, I'm never going to be the one to sell y'all out for no clicks, sell y'all out for no likes, sell y'all out for no retweets. And I don't care how slow my growth is. I can always live with it because you saw how much we grew in 2023 by never selling out and being true to ourselves from start to finish. So this right here is not only just a celebration of all of reality TV, but it's a celebration of the RBR brand and where reality TV has happened to take me. Thank you so much for your support, and I'm excited for where 2024 will bring us in the future. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you on the flip side for another one, all right? Deuces. Until next time.